Night 4 of week 5 of term 1 in 2024, and it is terrific to have you company wherever you're tuning in all around Australia or indeed the world on the platforms. The Gentleman Sim Racing Club across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. Let's go street racing, Formula V style. First up, Thursday night motorsport, thanks to Spreyton Ciders. And of course, this is the famous Grand Prix of Long Beach Circuit in Los Angeles, California, of course. Not too far from LA. Las Vegas is making all the headlines as far as Australian sport is concerned at the moment, with the rugby league doubleheader to kick off season 2024 over there next weekend. But right now, our focus is 3 compelling races for the Spreyton Cider Formula V Series, which is at a critical juncture. As we have a look at the championship standings here for you, I can tell you that we've got Adam Lavis on top on 297, John Merritt 259 and Sam Chapman 222. All those 3 blokes on the grid tonight. Phil King's there as well on 213, then Tony Baker on 176 and Kevin Henderson on 173, Brendan Neal on 157. Sean McKenzie's on 142. I'm happy to report that I did see him there earlier this evening. He is on the grid tonight. Behind them, Pete Matson and Kate Donnelly, both not on the grid tonight. We are lacking in numbers, we are lacking in size, but we're not lacking in substance, ladies and gentlemen. The quality is here, and it is top shelf, no doubt about that. John Merritt, Sam Chapman, Adam Lavis, Adam Proctor, Joe Baldwin, Tony Baker, Kevin Henderson, Phil King, they're all here. Glenn Cito's here, Matt Schmidtke, Luke Turner, Brendan Nealon, Michael Ladder, Gary Wellman, Rob Saxby and Sean McKenzie are going to make up the grid tonight. Well, let's have a look at the server conditions now as it updates to 11:25 Eastern. That's American Western Pacific Daylight Time, actually, because Los Angeles and Long Beach is on the west coast in California. So 11:25 a.m. Now that's in the daylight saving window only because it's May 2, 2024 server time. 5 kilometres an hour. We've got to head into the future in every sense of the word. 95 degrees and the 25 degrees Celsius is the ambient temp, 46 is the track temp. That's stifling hot. 14% humidity, clear conditions as expected. John Merritt will start from pole position. It is a 3.14 kilometre circuit. You know it is the famous home of the IndyCar Grand Prix, which is coming up again in April this year. Sam Chapman alongside him on the first row. Adam Lavis, Adam Proctor the second row. Joe Baldwin and Tony Baker the third row. Kevin Henderson, Phil King the fourth. Glenn Cito, Matt Schmidtke the fifth. Luke Turner, Brendan Nealon, Sean McKenzie, Gary Wellman, Joey Butter, Michael Ladder with Rob Saxby making up the field. Now, Bud will be in race control. We know that. And don't worry too much about that. Jamie will be in race control. It's just the rest of them that we're waiting for to line up on the grid. Still a few vacant spots there, as you can see. I'm Zach Caban, Daniel Correa-Sars here alongside me. Remembering after this, of course, we take you to... And you'll have to excuse the barking dog in the background, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing I can do about the mud at this point. You'll be joining us for leg 2 of the doubleheader tonight when we take you to Brands Hatch in England and the latest round of the Porsche Cup. And that is a sprint race format, which whets the appetite for a great night. 5 races on the program here, ladies and gentlemen. We're very excited about what we're bringing you here. 10 minutes first up for Formula V, an invert of the top 10 for a 15-minute second heat, and then, of course, a final heat over 15 minutes as well. And we are almost set to go. The field will be in the hands of the starter any 2 o'clock. We wait to see if Rob Saxby and Gary Wellman will join the grid. If not, we will go racing without them. That's going to be the case. So it's only a field of 14, but what it lacks in quantity, it makes up for in quality. Let's go racing on a Thursday night on the streets of Long Beach. And the question remains, how long until we see a few of these Formula Vs become canoes on a Thursday night, because there are walls to the left and walls to the right everywhere you look around this circuit. Down towards turn 1. Great start, John Merritt. Adam Lavis wants to force the issue up around the outside of Sam Chapman and does so. Can they get through turn 1 and 2 cleanly? So far, so good. A little bit of argy-bargy and niggle back in the pack. McKenzie yields, and that allows Glenn Riddell to go through. Sorry, it was Schmidtke that yielded. My apologies, to let Adam Proctor go through into position number 6. Cito also yielded with McKenzie in behind him. It was Kevin Henderson holding on to 8th place down the back straight for the first time. Daniel Correa-Sars here alongside me. And mate, nice to have you on board for a Thursday night, halfway mark of the season by the time we reach the checkered flag this evening. I'm struggling to comprehend just how quickly the half of the term has gone.
Yeah, thanks, Zach. Yeah, it definitely is a fast-moving one. I'm not sure exactly why. I've lost my words. I'm not exactly sure why it moves so fast. They say time flies when you're having fun, and I suppose we've all been having fun, so that's what I'll go with it. But yes, 5 rounds in once we reach the checkered flag for this one. Here is Joe.
Sorry, there's the first sign of trouble. Joe Baldwin's been, he's gone around on his own, and unfortunately, at that point of the circuit, in that position, compromised. He was a sitting duck for everybody else oncoming. Have a look at it again. I don't think there was any contact here. He was just a little bit skatey on the approach and looped it up, trying not to get into the back of, I think it was Tony Baker. Unlucky for Trucker, and that means that he rejoins down in 13th place, just ahead of Michael Latta. And we return to the front of the field where Adam Proctor's holding down 8th place now. But what that's done, unfortunately, has created a big wedge between... Tony Baker's gone. Tony Baker's gone. Got all sorts of out of shape going through the fountain section of the circuit. Have a look at this. Oh, it's a slow spin. It's a painful one at that speed.
And then you have to wait for everybody to go by as well.
Exactly. Yep, and such a compromised position to be in. And just a blind spot as well. So Baker rejoins down in 14th now. Baldwin up to 12th, Latta to 13th. Baker with all the work to do and then some. Frustrating night from there. Hello to Antonio tuning in the United States. Very nice to have you on board at what is about 3:45 in the morning, if memory serves, over there on the east coast of America. Now, we're 2 by 2 there in the battle for 6th place, and we're riding on board with Phil King in 8th at the moment, trying to get down on the outside of Adam Proctor. Can't do that. Proctor's all over the back of Mackenzie. They're all chasing Kevin Henderson. But unfortunately, Daniel, what's happened there? 10-second penalty for Tony Baker for no racing room on Hendo on lap 1. Harsh penalty for Baker. And I guess... double punishment now for him. It just adds insult to injury because he's already rear of this field. And down there with him now is Glenn Cito in 13th place as well. So something's happened to Cito on that lap around to force the issue there that the 2 Pulse boys are going to be coming from the back of the field in that next race. And if you're Luke Turner at the moment, you're hoping to just hold on to 10th place and get the invert, be the beneficiary. But what that incident, as we have a look at what happened to Cito, oh dear, teammate on teammate, because Cito got balked and everybody checked up. Baker's got the fast repair, he's back out on the racetrack. So, I mean, Tony Baker, if he wasn't already going to be 14th by virtue of that 10-second penalty, he's going to be 14th now. Michael Latta back down to 13th, Glenn Cito up to 12th on the reconnaissance mission. Adam Proctor there in 7th place. We're riding on board with him. Oh, geez. Again, the potential for Formula Vs to become canoes tonight is high.
Well, they do call this the concrete jungle, and it is Long Beach after all, so it's basically one big giant pinball machine for our Formula Vs here tonight.
Now, keep an eye on the clock as well. John Merritt's about to come across the line. And he'll do that at about 5 minutes and 2 seconds. 1, 2, 3, or 3.5, 4 maybe. It is touch and go as to whether these guys are going to get this race done in 6 laps, or whether these 3 here, with the pace they're showing and the fact that they're running 3 wide on the run down to turn 1 at the moment, are going to stretch it out to a 7-lap race. Whoa! Big moment for Chapman! Almost met the concrete and met the tyre wall. Wow. Did well to keep it off the wall. That gives John Merritt a little bit of breathing space. Glenn Cito and Joe Baldwin into pit lane. The attrition rate is high in the early stages here on the streets of Long Beach. We knew it was going to be, but this has all of a sudden opened up. That Formula V of Sam Chapman's is a bit skatey, it's fair to say. This all opened up. John Merritt, Adam Laver, Sam Chapman, they were gifted this breathing space, this real estate, by virtue of Joe Baldwin's incident. Unfortunately, we're one big happy pack, happy family going into that final quarter on the open lap, and Joe's spin has kind of just divided and conquered. Everybody's been spread out as a result of that and a couple of other incidents as well. So it's not the usual tight-knit racing you've come to expect from Formula V. I'd love to see these blokes cut loose on an oval at some point, like a Charlotte Motor Speedway or something like that. I reckon they'd be phenomenal. Here's Kevin Henderson. We're right on board with him now in 7th place. Happy to take the wide line there into the 3rd last corner of the lap. Hard on the brakes. Round onto the main straight. Right that ripple strip. Let's go. Down onto the main straight. Hendo runs 7th at the moment. Brendan Nealon's the beneficiary of the inverted things stay as they are. Here's Adam Lavis with a run on John Merritt. The 2 championship combatants. Chapman's not too far away in the fight, but he needs to actually start beating these blokes, or otherwise they are going to leave him in the rearview mirror. In every sense of the word, if you'll pardon the pun. Yeah, that's a very nice catch cry, Antonio. I like it, and very accurate. John Merritt holds off Adam Lavis for now. The margin is 0.8 of a second between 1st and 3rd. We're riding on board with Chapman. Remembering, Adam Lavis 297, John Merritt 259, Sam Chapman 222 coming into this round. But Chapman's already had a 1-race ban this season and therefore didn't feature on the grid in round 2. Merritt's already had an event or a round in which he did not appear on the grid. He didn't feature. So it's advantage Merritt at the moment in the championship fight, because once he uses that drop round of 0 and the drop rounds come into the championship equation, this spices things up just nicely. Here they are, weaving left to right, as though they've got all the real estate of themselves.
Yeah, I'm just curious on that, though, because I don't know if that's kosher, to use a term. Usually you can't weave that excessively. Now, they were all doing it, and I don't know, that'll be on race control to determine whether or not that's an infringement. And
the only thing that'll work in their favour, and I'm going to finish a sentence for you, is that I don't think, as they come across the line to start lap 6, now, was there a white flag waving? Has Barney got a white flag? I didn't get a good enough look at that. Yes, he does. White flag is out. This is the run to the checkered flag. This is the run to the checkered flag. Lavis to the outside. I haven't got last lap Zach set up yet. We'll try and do that for races 2 and 3. Down to turn 1. Merritt fending off Lavis for the moment. Whoa, that was tight.
Oh, they come together. Oh, he taps it round.
Chapman and Lavis have come together.
That was unfortunate.
And John Merritt says goodbye. But yeah, to finish your point, when they were weaving, I don't think they were close enough to actually be engaging in battle. It was more just a case of, if you're weaving, I'm going to weave with you to take your slipstream. It wasn't as though they were excessively defending or attacking. Right. So I don't think there's anything there to look at as far as race control is concerned. Lavis is 2nd, but they will have a look at that incident between him and Sam Chapman. And it's going to be very nice and spicy when they join us in central commentary a little bit later on to have a chat. John Merritt, 2.9 to the good now as a result of that. John Merritt's going to get the job done here on the streets of Long Beach, and it sets us up just nicely for a really interesting second race. Sam Chapman's in mega defence mode at the moment. He's got Sean McKenzie and Adam Proctor hovering, lurking. McKenzie goes on through. McKenzie displaces Chapman. Back to 5th goes Sam. Proctor around the outside. Can't get it done. Can he get down the wedge it? Jam it down the inside? No, he can't. Main straight, checkered flag. McKenzie's wide. McKenzie's wide. John Merritt gets the job done. Adam Lavis will be 2nd. Matt Schmidtke will come home 3rd. Look at the drag race behind them. Chapman edges out McKenzie. And that all happened with McKenzie's botched run off the final corner. That was all made possible for Sam Chapman to go from, even though he was running 2nd, 3rd there in that battle with Merritt and Lavis, he's limited the damage of the moment by coming home in 4th place. McKenzie will be 5th, Proctor 6th, then King, Turner, Nealon and Hendo. Not sure what the hell happened to Hendo there, but Hendo's going to be the beneficiary of the invert. Uh-oh. See ya. Exit stage right! And how lucky not to knock a wheel off in the process. Ooh. The rejoin was a bit hairy, a bit sketchy. Thursday night motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, all made possible thanks to the great people that will scroll across the bottom of your screen. Waste Options, Spreyton Ciders, Player One Sim Gear, Lobesy Racing, M-Wave Australia and Flash Graphics. Great to have all them on board for this season of motorsport. Season 16 for the club, turn one of a big 2024. Already, I must admit, Daniel Carrier, like we talk about how quickly this season's flying and that means, you know, happy days, good times, we're all having fun. I've got to get down to Tasmania at some point, not just to try Spreyton cider either. But I cannot wait for the 2-week break at Easter time. Good Friday we all knock off after Thursday Night Motorsport on March 28. Now, the reason that I'm looking forward to it so much is because that 2 weeks is going to generate so much interest, so much excitement and so much drama, because we're going to be talking about new cars, new circuits, and rain. And there is a certain element of intrigue attached to Season 2 already, or Term 2 for us, because of the variants that rain servers will bring to championships right across the board before we even get there. And it'll be hype and excitement and intrigue of which we haven't seen for a very, very long time in sim racing circuits. We can hardly wait for that. Race 2, ready to fire. Hendo from the pole. Nealon alongside him. Turner, King, Proctor, McKenzie, Chapman, Schmidtke, Lavis, and Merritt, the top 10. They're away. And Luke Turner's botched the start completely. It's a 10-second penalty for Sam Chapman on Adam Lavis, not the other way around. Sam Chapman on Adam Lavis for racing room. So at the end of this, just to answer Antonio's question there before it drops off the screen, big send from Phil King down the inside, not going to get it done. Trouble. Gone. See you later. It wasn't to be for Adam Proctor. He's dropped 9 spots at turn 1. Oh no, Hendo's gone as well. Hendo's gone as well. Exactly like what we saw from Tony Baker earlier. So any damage from race 1 does not carry over. Everything is a full reset and forget. So it's as though the server acknowledges that they're separate entities, and there's a mysterious window that doesn't exist in the time server because it only jumps forward every couple. Oh no! Massive trouble here. Sean McKenzie pointing backwards. Michael Ladder's gone over the top of him. And a couple of other cars caught up in that as well. We'll have to get a replay of that. But yeah, no, it's a full reset. Even though there's no server time necessarily between those. Oh, the trouble started before McKenzie arrived on the scene. It started with one of the Pulse Tuning Boys. Started with one of the Pulse Tuning Boys. Exactly. Perfect timing for the ride-along. But yes, there's no time per se between races set up in the server the way they're set up. So magically, Walt Disney style, you know. Oh, more trouble on the main straight this time. Adam Proctor. What the hell's going on out there? It's as though everybody's taking a sip of the happy juice. Unbelievable. Pit lane's very busy. Nealon, Ladder, Proctor, and Cito and Schmidtke, I think. No, Schmidtke's going to continue on. Cito is limping back to the lane as we speak. McKenzie's been on the tow rope from the start. But yeah, as luck would have it, click of the fingers, damage repaired, cars on the grid, happy to go. Could you imagine if server time and damage time, if iRacing developed the software, that car repair time also impacted your ability to either participate in or, of course, your car performance for that next race and ongoing? No, it's a set and forget. It's like you're in a whole brand new bloody motor car. I hope I've made enough sense of that for you, mate, and I apologise. I got a little bit tongue-tied in amongst everything else that was going on there. But yes, no. It is a full reset and go. So unfortunately there'll be a few blokes wishing that they had that reset available to them without going via pit lane for a fast repair at the start of the second race here. And unfortunately for us, Daniel Carrier, we've had half the field make their way onto pit road in this race already, just about, and it's only, well, 2 laps old. We had Hendo, McKenzie, Riddell, Proctor, Ladder, Nealon, and Schmidtke. No, Schmidtke was the first not to stop in 8th place there. So it's been a very, very busy pit lane as a result of carnage, which is something that is so often synonymous and associated with these invert races. They are fraught with danger, especially on a street circuit, especially when you're flying blind as you're going through left-handers and seeing cars parked in the middle of the racetrack because everybody's been brought undone on cold tyres and the like. So Phil King's the leader, and he's got 1.24 on Sam Chapman. Adam Lavis is third. Now, that's the other point of interest, because that penalty came through for Chapman after the race had finished. We didn't get a chance to have a second look at the results board and see exactly what that's going to mean when Chapman drops 10 seconds. Not Lavis, Chapman. Racing Room was deemed the reason for Chapman getting the penalty, not Lavis, who made the contact. It was Chapman on Racing Room, so he'll drop 10 seconds. That will impact his 4th place finishing result, and therefore have a knock-on effect for those behind him. He'll gain the spot as well. In the meantime, this is Joe Baldwin. Same corner as last time. Not quite the same result. He went a little bit further into the corner this time around. Brendan Nealon's on pit road as well. That's his 2nd stop. Kevin Henderson's parked up and gone for the night. He's out. Michael Latta took way too much curb for a Formula V through that corner. And this is Luke Turner. So incidents galore and a very tame second race playing out here at the moment, unless your names are King, Chapman and Lavis, who are 1, 2 and 3 at this point. And John Merritt's got his teammate and Tony Baker for company too. 1:38.246 for Chapman. Now, last time around, we got 6 laps in. If the numbers are right, we should get back to the line with a couple of seconds left on the clock. We may be able to squeeze in. A 9th or 10th lap this time around. We'll get to 9, but it's a matter of whether we get to 10 or not that remains to be seen. It'll be one of those rare instances where we're on a racetrack where you don't add 3 laps to the count of the first race, you add 4. And if you get 10 here, there's no reason why you shouldn't get 10 in the next race, just quietly. But I'll keep an eye on that as we edge closer. We're in the 6th minute of play. We're on the 4th lap. At about 1:38 a lap, the pace at the front. Remembering that you've got to shave off the time that you lose on the opening lap as well from the count. So that's why the flag flew maybe half a second either side of time in that first race. It was just too close a buffer to call, to play with. Now, there's that weaving that Daniel Correa was talking about a few moments ago in action again, but this time it is Chapman defending King, having got by King, it's important to note, and King has his hands full fending off Adam Lavis. We ride with Lavis now, knowing full well that he can't afford to muck around here. He needs to find a way by King, or otherwise Chapman's going to get away. It's now over a second. He should get King in the run to the first corner. Daniel, that has been quite a fair degree of madness in the opening few stages here.
Yeah, it has. Obviously just making up for the first race where it was much cleaner. But that is one of the characteristics of Long Beach, which is on a track such as, say, Brands Hatch or Oran Park or anything like that. You've got a lot of runoff area. Oh, they touch. And
that was King. That was King. He went to double left. He went to just steer left ever so slightly, and then went a little bit too early, not aware that Adam Lavis's rear right tyre was still in his line of sight.
Yeah, exactly right. But yeah, as this track doesn't have runoff areas, it's got walls, and so when a car crashes, then the chance of another car being involved in that collision is almost exponential above that. So yeah, once they spun around here on that first lap, then everybody just started to collide, and these cars are fragile, they're very easy to damage, and so as you said, most of them went into the pits to get that fast repair because it was early in the race, and so it made sense to do that. and that's of course allowed the guys at the front to get away with it. So Sam Chapman's doing a great job at the front at the moment. He's almost got a second out to Adam Lavis. The only thing is, as we've said in previous rounds, the draft of these cars is quite strong, which means that as long as Adam can stick with him, he might be able to get him back. But as they go around that final bend, unfortunately, Lavis has gone past that 1 second mark as Tony Baker goes a little wide on the corner. So John Merritt tried to look on the inside, chose not to, instead goes back into that slipstream, knowing it'll be more beneficial for him going towards turn 1. But yes, Adam Lavis seems to have broken outside of that 1 second mark. So Sam Chapman, if he can hold on, has probably got this in the bag, unless Lavis can find some time in further corners of the track. I guess we'll wait and see.
And we're all set again now that Lavis has found his way by King and didn't get wiped out at turn 1. We are set if Lavis can latch onto the back of Chapman for another last lap thriller between those blokes. How many times have you seen it? Now, on the subject of racing and horsepower, can I just say, since we were last on air, the worst kept secret in broadcasting, the worst kept secret in television, the news that network, the Nine Network and the Wide World of Sports will take coverage of the Melbourne Cup Carnival for the next 6 years was finally confirmed. Now, that means the Olympic Network will be home to not just the Olympics and State of Origin and the Australian Open tennis and a few other things, but also the Melbourne Cup Carnival, the race that stops the nation, for the next 6 years. I think they need to show some Formula V racing. It's almost as exciting as the Melbourne Cup. That would be nice to see. But yes, a big Olympic year just got a little bit bigger for Nine. And I tell you what, I'll be a little bit weary-eyed. Any racing that we're covering during the Olympics, I intend to watch as much of that as I possibly can.
Yeah, I'm usually one for watching the Olympics. I don't know what it is either, because there isn't an answer that I can give you honestly as to why I watch the Olympics. It's just, it feels like something that just calls to me. I don't know. Yeah. I don't even know how to explain it. Like for whatever reason, ever since I was a kid, I've just always enjoyed watching the Olympics. But it's not that I necessarily enjoy the sports that are on offer or the competitions, but I just watch it. I don't. Yeah, it's. That's Tony.
Oh, Tony Baker again. About 150 metres up the road from where he come unstuck in race 1.
Also, Michael Ladder's gone off the road, and maybe that's. Yeah, that might have just put Tony Baker off.
Maybe, but it's still an isolated incident. That's unlucky for Baker. Back down in 6th place now behind Luke
that's
Turner.
Out of the pit lane. So
Michael Ladder's returned to the track out of the pit lane. Now, why was he in the pit lane for starters?
Oh, so
maybe
it
was a drive-through penalty. Because there's nothing on my timing sheet to suggest that he stopped again. It was the fast repair on lap 1. And it looks like he's gone through for a drive-through. If he has gone through pit lane, and certainly he's in the right part of the racetrack to suggest that he has. In the meantime, 11 minutes and 25 seconds. The other big news this week in broadcasting circles, and I don't want to sway off topic too much, but again, it won't be Formula V, but it'll be Formula Ford featuring on the support bill at Mount Panorama on the Easter long weekend, when about the 6-hour roars into life, and confirmation yesterday that that SBS Sport, the home of the famed Speed Week franchise, will be bringing you that event and showcasing both Saturday and Sunday coverage on their main channel, SBS HD, which is great news. Now, this and probably one more is what we're looking at here as far as this race is concerned. We'll confirm that next time by the line with regards to if there is a white flag in the air. 138.808 last time around for Chapman, 138.6 for Lavis, and Lavis has latched onto Chapman now. This is exciting. A two-way fight for the win. One of four two-way battles on the racetrack at the moment. Proctor and Riddell fighting for 9th. Turner and Baker for 5th. King and Merritt for 3rd. But forget about them for a moment because the focus is just these two. But my message to everybody who will no doubt not be satisfied with anything they are given is with regards to the SBS thing. People complained and gave Motorsport Australia the middle finger when it was on the paywall of Stan Sport. Now it's on free to air, so don't dare whinge about the commercials. It's got to be paid for somehow. Let's focus on what should be a last lap board in the air this time by for Sam Chapman and Adam Lavis. 2 club stalwarts, 2 committee members, 2 fierce rivals on the racetrack, not immune to their own share of drama and their own share of incidents in which they've been embroiled together. 1 lap away from determining which of them takes the checkered flag here as the winner of race 2 of round 5 of Spreyton Siders Formula V Thursday night motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. The run down towards the first corner. You don't want to go too early if you're Adam Lavis. Chapman's going to defend to the inside. No, he actually had Adam Lavis throw him the dummy, throw him the sucker punch, say, look, I want to go down the inside, but no, I'm going to tuck back in, and that allowed Chapman to take a normal racing line through turn 1. Chapman leads Lavis, King leads Merritt, Baker leads Turner. They're the first 3 battles on the racetrack for 1st, 3rd and 5th respectively. Out of turn 4. Whoa, Merritt with the big sun down the inside. Beautifully done from John Merritt. Gets Phil King and relegates him. Merritt to 3rd. What a charge that's been. Caught up in early drama, but the race 1 winner has found his way back onto the podium. And this is why he's always such a threat in a Formula V championship, especially on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Defending King beautifully for the moment. We'll get back to Chapman and Lavis. There they are. Top a shot. Heading down towards the final sequence of corners now. 24 seconds on the clock. I think the flag flies this time by. I hope I'm not wrong. Round they go. 16, 15, 14. We might know there is a checkered flag waiting for them at the line. It's Chapman and Lavis out of the final corner. The run down the main straight. Can Chapman get the job done? I don't think Lavis is far up enough on the tail of Chapman. No, Chapman's got it done. Gets it done in 14 minutes 59 and something. So we were denied a last lap by the skin of our teeth, but that's okay. A thriller for the ages. King has a lunge on Merritt, but can't get it done. There's a 10-second penalty for Joe Baldwin as well for contact on Brendan Nealon. It is all happening out there. Tony Baker edges out Luke Turner in the battle for 5th. Baldwin will drop down the order, but actually, oh no, Baldwin should be okay because Matt Schmidtke's 13 seconds behind him. Schmidtke will be 8th, 9th will be Glenn Cito, and Adam Proctor will be 10th unless something changes. This is still a live battle, folks, as these 2 come to the line. Yeah, Chapman had enough breathing space. Lavis wasn't close enough to get the job done on the run to the finish line. Just didn't have enough pace or momentum to put any real pressure on Chapman. And Chapman draws up level with John Merritt in the winner's rostrum tonight. Proctor, and this is Glenn Cito to the last corner. Can Proctor get the up and under out of the final corner? No. Same scenario as what we saw with Chapman and also Lavis. Not up close enough, not enough momentum off the final turn, which is a very hard corner to get a solid run off, actually. To be fair, even the up and under is tough to get a run on in the run to the finish line. Maybe not necessarily the run all the way to the braking zone at turn 1. And Proctor comes home just ahead there. Race 1, just recapping those results. Sam Chapman with that 10-second penalty will now drop down all the way to 8th. Everyone from Mackenzie down to Luke Turner will jump up a spot. Brendan Neal on 9th and Kevin Henderson 10th. Let's have a look at the race 2 results if we can now. And just to confirm everything we were talking about there, yeah, Glenn Cito edging out Adam Proctor, unlucky for Proctor. Mackenzie 11th, Ladder 12th, Nealon Henderson 13th, 14th, but Hendo jumped out of the service, so I think we're down to just the 13 for the next race. Frustrating night for some at the office here. I'll tell you where it's going to get frustrating as well, Daniel Carrier-So, and I'm very excited about this. When we switch servers, when we hit the intermission and we go from the main course to dessert on a Thursday night, when we go over to Brands Hatch. Now, there is a circuit steeped in history, but maybe not the best circuit for Porsche cars. Looking forward to seeing how it plays out, but limited overtaking opportunities, not dissimilar to a recent trip to Alton Park that we had. And, you know, lo and behold, we're throwing an invert race at these guys just for the hell of it, so they're going to have to get creative and forceful with their overtaking moves tonight.
That's right. And the other thing too is Brands Hatch is, of course, a British track. And there's one thing that British tracks all have in common, and it's that they all encourage heavy door-to-door racing. So if you think about, as you were saying before, overtaking opportunities are few and far between. And all of the British tracks tend to encourage that type of behavior. So what ends up happening is you don't have long straights per se in order to make moves. There are some, for example, Snetterton. Snetterton has a decently long straight, but for the most part, you tend to be fighting in those corners, and because the corners tend to link into each other well, so Brands Hatch, of course, has it going up. I can't quite remember the track, the turn names off the top of my head, but as you go from turn 1, you go down the hill and then up towards, I think it's Druids, which is the hairpin. That's one where you'll see a lot of moves happening. And then, of course, down towards Sector 3 when you come back onto what is the back straight, should you be on the Indy circuit. You just cut across all that. Once you get onto that back straight, there's a lot of cutting on the inside, trying to get that quick run down towards the line. So, yeah, it should be a cracker of two sprint races.
With apologies to Joe Baldwin, he was standing by to have a chat to us, but now he's jumped straight back into the car to go again. We'll have a chat to him at the end of the race here. Chapman, Lavis, Merritt, King and Baker, the top 5 on the grid here, followed by Turner, Baldwin, Schmidtke, Riddell and Proctor. Remembering that Joe got a 10-second penalty but didn't pay an invoice for it, as he had 13 seconds on Matt Schmidtke. Mackenzie, Latta and Nealon make up the field. Ready to fire. The 15th race of the campaign, round 5, race 3, let's go. Beautiful start, Adam Lavis. Converted off the line magnificently. Got the jump and then a car length on Sam Chapman. That is almost the perfect start in these cars from Adam Lavis to fend off Chapman and hold sway at turn 1. Beautiful. Took Merritt with them. Left Baker, King and Baldwin in their rear view mirror. Trouble for Mackenzie at turn 1. Trouble for Sean Mackenzie, who's gone back to 3rd, and Joe Baldwin's off the road again. Baldwin's up on the embankment. I think Baldwin's up in the waterfall. Drops down to 13th. Trouble for Trucker in the outset. Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah. There he is.
Did well to get it out of there, actually. I would have thought he'd be bogged. That's unlucky. And this is what happened to Mackenzie at turn 1. There's got to be contact here, isn't there? Yep. Oh, Proctor. Trying to get around the outside, squeezed him. And then Proctor got jarred in the wall on the other side.
As we cut at the worst time, because as Adam Lavis came up into Sector 2, have a look at this.
Go. Oh, no! Lavis gone! In the wall! Drops down to 12th. Oh,
that was close.
And now look at this. The old experienced hand of Formula V racing. John Merritt finds his way to the front. Takes Chapman with him. So Chapman's remained steady in 2nd. Merritt has found his way through. Chapman wants to force the issue and lead from the front, going around the outside on the run out of turn 1. Can do so with a slipstream effect here. Oh! Merritt pulls out of the draft. Merritt lunges down the inside. Merritt holds Chapman at bay. Yep, well done, boys. Steady as she goes.
Yeah, Sam
it's only lap 2.
Sam will be weary about the racing room in that section there. He already got pinged for 10 seconds, so he'll be a little bit more forgiving when it comes to that, and that's worked in Merritt's favour. Merritt now goes past through the fountain and back into first place, as race control deemed that Aaron Proctor to be given a drive-through, for racing rules from Mackenzie. Yep, that makes sense.
Right. And look, fair enough too. I'm a big supporter of Adam Proctor, but fair enough, because that was a squeeze job. It was almost like the old squeeze time game on The Price is Right. And, unlucky for Adam Proctor, but you do the crime, you do the time. Into pit lane he goes for a drive-through. He's already there getting car repair damage anyway, so it's going to be 2 trips down the pit lane in the space of 9 laps for Adam Proctor, and I dare say he might just park it up and not even bother. Glenn Cito's still on pit lane as well, has been for about 30 seconds now, and it's been just a frustrating night for those two blokes. John Merritt, the leader. He's got Sam Chapman for company. Matt Schmidtke and Tony Baker. Look at the weaving. The dancing starts, the gamesmanship. But run down to turn 1. They've now put a lap on Cito and Proctor, who are still in pit lane. Merritt and Chapman lead. Schmidtke and Baker, then King and Turner is the battle we're watching here. Can Turner find a way up on the inside of Phil King? Baker's got Schmidtke. Baker the third, holding off Schmidtke. Turner lets King go.
Oh, no!
King's in the wall!
Oh, he's taking Turner with him.
Turner with him, who had nowhere to go. And yet again, the pitfalls of Long Beach on show for everybody to see. Too deep into the corner, sliding into the wall, gone. Poor old Luke Turner had nowhere to go. Survival of the fittest at the moment.
Indeed.
They'll be lucky to have any finishes at this rate. Phil King's now got Sean McKenzie for company, having dropped all that ground to Matt Schmidtke and co. And Luke Turner's limping back to pit lane. He's got Michael Ladder and Joe Baldwin for company. McKenzie down the inside of King, who's limping in a wounded car, no doubt.
Oh, look at... Oh, that's wicked to watch. I hope I can get a better angle of that, but if you can see it, viewers, the back of Phil King's car is actually detached. One of the latches has broken there, and so it's actually moving about in the wind. Look at that. I wonder if I can look at it from the... That's not a good
Look
one.
at
Let's
it.
try it.
Look at it. How good's that? That is fantastic. Surely the iRacing modelling will be updated in due course to enable us to watch that flight off the car, and then we can deploy a safety car for debris on the racetrack.
I believe it can fly off the car. I've seen it. I've seen bodywork fly off during transit in other cars.
It will with another hit, yeah. It will with another hit.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Merritt and Chapman fighting for their respective second wins of the night. So, having already got a W in the column tonight, the pair of them, they now go out to sort out round honours. But it will be in favour of Merritt at this point, because Merritt has a first and a third to his name, and Chapman has a 10-second invoice on his race 1 time, which dropped him down to, I think we worked it out to be 8th spot. Schmidtke in 4th, and doing a nice job of it. Hassling Tony Baker at the moment, and unfortunately for us, these guys are 4.16 seconds down the road. Unless Merritt and Chapman come to blows.
Which might happen.
It's happened before.
Based on how they're racing. So Sam is right up there.
It happened between Chapman and Lavis, and Chapman and Merritt, but not Merritt and Lavis.
Yeah, so they're right up there. We're just under the 10-minute mark now. John Merritt still leading there with a nice gap. But Sam Chapman's doing everything in his power to bring that down. And, of course, with the draft on the main straight that isn't really a straight here at Long Beach.
The main curve.
The main curve, yeah, we'll go with that. He'll easily catch him towards turn 1, but the problem is slowing up in time. So usually what you'll do is you'll tend to fall behind. You'll tend to follow because you have plenty of time on the board. It's not really a risk, so as long as you don't do anything damaging, you'll still be within that gap and be able to fight towards the end. So Sam Chapman will most likely just hang back and lest he make a move, because he knows that the advantage then goes to John Merritt behind him. And so I would expect that Sam will just chill back for now. Having said that, if Merritt does put a foot wrong anywhere, Sam will pounce on that, so it won't be that forgiving. But for now, I think we'll see John Merritt lead up until about, most likely, the 12-minute mark, where we'll get last honours and that white flag will fly, and then we'll see Sam probably be a little bit more aggressive on some of the corners. So we'll see how John Merritt defends from that one when the time comes.
Indeed. So he had 6 laps in race 1, 9 in race 2. The theory is that we'll get the same again here in race 3. Riding on board with Chapman, the run down Boulevard to the right-hander, and Merritt weaving left to right. keeping Chapman at bay. I'm sure race control will have a look at it if it gets a little bit too silly, the weaving. Into the final corner. Tricky track to master. Tricky cars to master. You've often got to work with these, the onus is on the racecraft in these cars because you just don't have enough horsepower under the bonnet.
That's right. And it's also why they're so heralded as perfect cars for those who are starting in their racing careers, because what these cars do is they teach you the basics that are required in order to drive those faster cars fast. You can learn everything you need to learn in these because momentum becomes a big key. You want to keep that speed up. Well, the engine won't help you that much. It's not as powerful. It doesn't have that pickup, and so you've got to try and keep as much speed as you can in the corners, and that's where things like trail braking and so on and so forth will come to pass. And learning all those in a smaller formula, as it were. And then, of course, like you said, building the racecraft, because you have to fight for those positions. The draft is powerful. There's no doubt about that. But you still have to get the pass done. And so learning all that in a slower class car and a smaller car like this, and then migrating over to the fast stuff. People tend to overlook the smaller formulas. Oh, they're not that fast, not as exciting to watch. I honestly beg to differ. I think that some of the most honest-to-God racing that you will find will be in these small series, like a Formula V or something like an XL National. All those small ones where it basically comes that you have to fight for every inch. Every inch is where you'll see the closest racing.
Indeed. Not the fastest cars in the world, but certainly some of the most entertaining, and some of the best racing we've ever had on our platforms have come from this very category. Main straight, 3 to go. And I'll tell you what, it'll either be the skin of the teeth that they don't get an extra lap here just quietly. 138.5. So 9 laps the agenda based on those numbers. Down to turn 1, Merritt, Chapman, 2 of the best in the business in this caper. Joe Baldwin still on pit road, has been for about 1:14. Glencito's out of the business. Adam Proctor may as well be. Luke Turner has been on pit road already as well. So too Adam Lavis. Some big names caught up in some drama tonight, but that has been a stroke of good luck for the likes of Matt Schmidtke, Tony Baker, Brendan Elon, Michael Latta, Phil King. All find themselves in the top 8 here with the hot shots, the likes of Merritt, Chapman, Schmidtke and McKenzie. Very stale Formula V race by our standards, let's be perfectly honest. All the drama happened on the opening lap. The run down the back straight. Merritt, Racecraft 101. Chapman's got to play the game. Go with him or be left behind and left to concede and secure second place.
Oh, Tony!
Big save from Tony Baker. Big moment, big save, but unfortunately it's given Matt Schmidtke too much breathing space for the sake of it now. I think Baker needs to just compose himself a little bit there. Can't go afford to chasing his tail now. He has to wait for a little bit of a mistake from Schmidtke to be invited back into the fight. Michael Latta's got by Brendan Elon in the meantime, and Phil King runs a very lonely 8th at the moment with that flapping rear end.
Curious to see if it's still moving. Oh, there it goes!
There it is, it's gone!
Hey!
What about that for timing from you, Daniel Correa? Have a look at that!
Doesn't it look great?
It was only going to be able to hold on for so long. The disappearing bodywork of Phil King. How good was that for poetic timing? Could not have scripted that one any better if we tried. That's one of the moments of the season right there. Be mindful, drivers, on your right-hand side off the racing line as you come through the final horseshoe. A big piece of Phil King's Formula V is being left behind.
Now, of course,
actually, I'll be interested to see if it's been left there, or whether the robots that be within iRacing are actually going to remove it.
No, they remove it. So I was just about to mention in real life, of course, that stuff doesn't get just disappeared into the ether.
That's disappointing, to be honest.
Yeah, Marshall will have to pick it up, or
Where's the realism in that?
Well, there is a reason for it. The reason is this, because the way that... Oh, that's Michael Ladder gone. He went a little too hot there. That's him. The KFC car at the back. So...
And Brendan Nealon survives a scare. He can breathe easily to the checkered flag from here. Sixth will be his.
So...
one of only two battles left on the racetrack is this one here. Matt Schmidtke and Tony Baker.
Oh, as he hits the wall.
Jeez. Matt Schmidtke. Couldn't have got any closer to the wall if he tried. Sam Chapman with the white flag in the air, I do believe, this time by. Let's have a look at it.
I don't see it waving.
The white flag wave? No, so we're actually going to go an extra lap. And that is thanks to the pace of John Merritt. We're going to go an extra lap around at Long Beach. We're going to get to, so 6, 9 and now 10. And one of the rare occasions in all the seasons we've brought you Formula V, ladies and gentlemen, whereby the third race is going to be a longer distance-wise race than the second. Normally, that's only brought about if we have a race compromised by a safety car intervention. Not on this occasion. Wowee. So we've got an extra lap. That's you, oh, you beauty.
We did, and it does make sense. If you
I'm
can
not
see,
complaining. I'm not complaining.
They're almost at the third sector now, and so yeah, with that to go, once they cross the line, they'll cross the line with, I dare say, 20 seconds.
Oh no, it'll be. It won't be. No, it won't even be that close. It'll be about 2 seconds.
Actually, yeah. No, you're right. There we go. Because there's 40 coming up now. So, oh, that's interesting. So they will cross with.
Yes. 3/5 of overall left on the clock. Yes.
Right. So if we have a look at the fish, that's the white flag. So let's have a look. What are the odds here? It's 1450.
Yep. There they come.
Have a look at this. 56.
White flag in the air.
53 seconds.
3 seconds to go.
3 seconds
White
to go.
flag in the air. So this race has run quicker than the first two because we only got 6 laps into the 10-minute race. We got 9 laps into the second race, and that waved at about 14:59. So we were right on the threshold. We were right on the cusp. And now, with an extra lap secured, John Merritt is actually breathing easier. He has got a second on Sam Chapman. Baker to the inside of Schmidtke. Baker to the inside of Schmidtke. Millimetres between Schmidtke and the wall. Baker holds on around the outside. Working hard at the steering wheel there. How about that from Tony Baker? Nicely done. Pressure on him for the rest of the lap from Schmidtke. We might stay with this because at the moment it looks like John Merritt's going to hold sway at the front. Unless something drastically changes there, we'll stick with this battle for third. Schmidtke with the big send up the outside. Can't get it done. Baker holds on for now. Pulse Boys 1 and 3. And 6th through Brendan Nealon as well. And 10th through Luke Turner. Case of what might have been for Turner. Oh, no, there goes Baker. 3 spins of as many races. Not the hat-trick he was chasing. Baker drops to 5th. McKenzie up to 4th. And Schmidtke breathes easy in the fight for 3rd. Main straight, checkered flag. The master and the apprentice. John Merritt gets the job done again in Spreyton side of Formula V. Wins round 5 at the Long Beach Grand Prix circuit in California. Los Angeles belongs to Hot Lap. He's done it again. 3 podium finishes, 2 of which were race wins. And Merritt edges out Chapman by 0.87 of a second. Schmidtke, McKenzie, Baker, Nealon, Latta, King, Lavis, Turn. Oh, King's got by Latta. King's got by Latta in the battle for 7th. Phil King has gone to 7th. There he is. Michael Latta's dropped off. Michael Latta is in the wall, I think you'll find. And he will now limp to the checkered flag. He's lost out to Adam Lavis as well. This is what happened to Michael Latta. Oh dear. Yep, he did end up in the wall as well. And Joe Baldwin will come home in 10th. Luke Turner 11th. Everybody else parked up and out of it. Oh, Luke Turner. Crunch again. Crunch-a-rama on the run to the line. He's dropped down to 11th. And he will limp it home rather frustratingly to the checkered flag, as will our mate Joe Baldwin, who will be happy to see the back of Long Beach, I would suspect. And I would imagine, and there'll be a few people in the same boat. feeling or sharing very much similar views to those of Trucker. But yes, what about that? Merritt the winner, Chapman second, Schmidtke edges out Mackenzie and Baker. And another great edition of Spreyton Cider Formula V to end the first half of the season. 15 races, 5 rounds down, and race 3 of round 5. Not a classic in any stretch, but certainly thoroughly enjoyable. Oh boy. Oh boy. John Merritt the winner by 0.8. And then 12 seconds back to the rest. Doesn't get much better than that. Joe Baldwin, sorry we didn't get a chance to have a chat to you in the intermission between races 2 and 3, but nice of you to join us now. And no doubt happy to see the back of Long Beach.
Oh, look, that's normally a track I'm chomping at the bit to get to. I love the place, but certainly it wasn't kind to me tonight, that's for sure. Just, I don't know, just hot track temps and V's with cold tyres makes for a difficult combination.
It does indeed. And also, you wore a 10-second invoice as well on the second race, I saw.
I did. I was pushing to try and catch Mr. Baker, and I come up behind Brendan and thought he would have let me through the race, but yeah, unfortunately I gave him a tap there. I never had the overlap, but thankfully, looking at the results, I was 12.4 seconds ahead of Matt Schmidtke, so it's, yeah, probably lucky for me. It was a little bit redundant, but I certainly wasn't intentional. I thought he was going to leave me room, but yeah, sorry to Brendan if he's listening.
Speaking of those that ended up with invoices to pay tonight, Sam Chapman's joined us in the booth for a chat as well, Trucker, so we'll get to him in just a moment. But whilst we've got you, race 3 was a little bit frustrating because it looked as though you were going for a swim at one point, as you can see on the screen here.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I went in with caution, and it just seems like everybody just popped up in front of me, and when I grabbed the brakes, it pinched the rear, and yeah, because I had the right front up on the curb there, it decided to go and get a instant car wash.
Yes. Not as good a car wash as some, but still a car wash all the same. And I'm not sure if you can get back on the track if you end up in the fountain, so it's probably a good thing you stuck to the weeds. When we look at the calendar and what's ahead for Formula V, I mean, I'm looking forward to next week because when we reconvene for round 6, we're off to Virginia. Now, I'm not sure if that's the full circuit or just one of the shorter configurations, but then we've got the fan choice. The drivers will be asked which one they want to pick out of Le Mans, Sebring and Daytona. Then Lebanon, which will be a bit of hit and miss. Then a TBA, and Sam Chapman might elaborate on that for us in just a moment. Then Phillip Island, and Phillip Island, as we know in Formula V, is must-watch.
Oh, it is absolutely. It's a must-watch and a must-race. Like, if you could watch and race, it'd be great. But Virginia, I'm looking forward to that. That'll be a big drag race down the back straight and up the front straight too to turn 1. But Le Mans, Sebring, Daytona. If it's Le Mans, I'm going to need a packed lunch and a water bottle for that one. That I reckon, and a little bit of Bex to try and keep you awake along the big straights there at Le Mans. So we'll wait and see. Hopefully that one doesn't get over the line.
Actually, has anyone actually taken the Formula V for a lap around Le Mans and just calculated how long it's going to be and how much slower it's going to be than the 3.5 to 4 minutes that we normally see for the sports cars?
I think somebody has, but they're still doing the lap.
Copy that.
I'd imagine.
I'm just thinking it might warrant a fair bit of overtime. That is all.
Absolutely.
Across the 2 races, and one lap, 2 laps, who knows, you might even need a splash and dash in there too. Very nicely done. Trucker, thank you. Are you jumping in the Porsche?
Certainly am. I even did some practice this afternoon, but don't tell anyone.
At Brands Hatch, we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's a great track.
Yep, indeed. All right, mate, well, we'll let you go and get ready for that one. We'll watch that race unfold live from the top of the hour. Thanks for that.
Thanks, guys.
Hot lap, John Merritt. Well done. Coming to you in a moment. Sam Chapman, to you. an interesting night. A 10-second penalty for, well, in iRacing, in race control's iRacing view. Squeezing Adam Lavis, not giving enough racing room there in race 1 in the closing stages, going for track position. And then race 2, you got the job done and did so rather easily, rather well. And then race 3, another great scintillating battle with Mr. Merritt until the very end.
Yeah, so race 1 was actually the other way around. I was halfway through and I sort of changed the message to Jamie and went, are we sure that was 10 second for me? But no, it's easy to do on the sheet, so it was Adam who ended up.
Oh, okay, copy that.
So I actually don't have any invoices to pay tonight, Zach, which is, I love the change of pace.
Absolutely, for you. I mean, you've had a few invoices this season.
Well, I have, and John's in the server with us as well, so who knows about that? But like race 1 was great. Until that moment, it was quite hard to pass around here, and particularly on that outside, holding it, you can sort of hold it into fountain. At that time, I sort of cut back, but yeah, going around to the fountain is pretty tough, and yeah, it wasn't quite enough room there. But race 2 was able to slip through the terror, which I predicted. I was sort of saying earlier that Jamie needs to get ready on a safety car because it's a reverse grid round here could be pretty crazy, but we got through okay there. We
got very close to needing the safety car. Don't worry about that. Couple of cars very much worse for wear after that. But with it being such a small depleted field in the first place, there was no need to neutralise it. And I was going to say, on that note, given the update that's come from you, and even I just read what was on the screen, but even my eyebrows raised at it. Can we have a look at the race 1 results sheet again, please, Daniel Corrier-Sar? Because I've got some mathematics to do now, because what we know is that John Merritt's won 2 races, Sam Chapman's won 1, finished third in the other, and then second. So it should be John Merritt's round by virtue of 2 firsts, the first and a second. And on that note, Adam Lavis will drop down to still just below Luke Turner. So it's the same invoice, believe it or not. Chapman would have gone from 4th to 8th, but Lavis instead goes from 2nd to 8th and everyone else bumps up 1. So it just means that Schmidtke and Chapman end up being beneficiaries of the penalty, not just Mackenzie, Proctor, King and Turner. So make a note of that in your bingo card. There was a typo from race control. In fact, actually, that's one thing we should, but probably don't already have on the bingo card, is a typo from race control. I like it. Now that's interesting, because that means that look at this. My darling little niece is trying to call me on FaceTime at the moment, and I can't take the call because I'm in the middle of a broadcast. I'll have to call her later, tomorrow by that means, because she'll be asleep by the time I get off air tonight. But in saying that, fair income. In saying that, let's focus on the positives here as we have a look at the second half of the season. You needed a strong result tonight, mate. You've had a better result than Adam Lavis. It's now John Merritt that you've just got to worry about. You had a 37-point deficit to him coming into this round, and will grow gradually, marginally after all of that.
It's probably a long slog to try and chase after John in a Formula V when you're already behind, but we'll keep trying. We've had some good races recently on and on, at decent pace, and I think probably tell tonight I was sort of sitting back trying to take it easy and finding my time to pounce, but it was exactly what I was trying to do final race, and then missed every gear in the gearbox going on to the final lap, so couldn't actually make it work. Hopefully we can sort of chase it down. There's a few TBA tracks, so do you want me to give you the lowdown on what the plan is with those?
Yes, please. Since we've got time.
Well, there you go. So the first one is the Sebring Le Mans and Daytona. That's to celebrate the start of the endurance round, of the endurance series for the GSRC, coming up, I think it's end of next week then. For
10th of March,
yeah, for Watkins. So that's what that is, and we'll put out a survey soon to get the track picked for that one. I think, Le Mans would be long in these. I think Sebring would be interesting, but, a bit risky, and then Daytona was, again, it would be long, a lot of slipstreaming. And that TBA round, that's it's going to be a current F1 circuit, and that's due once you get to celebrate the start of the F1 season from an Australian perspective. So when the Melbourne Grand Prix comes through, it's that week. So I haven't worked out how we pick that yet, but we'll pick a F1 circuit for that one.
Okay, no worries. And let's just remember that the title of the event is still, for the moment, the Australian Grand Prix. But you fall into the trap that so many apparently qualified news journalists fall into, of calling it the Melbourne Grand Prix just because it's in the city. Well done. On that note, I believe I'll be yes, that was an intentional ticket journalist in the industry. And I believe I'll be seeing you on the 10th of March because I believe Mr. Banks is MIA for the first round of the Enduros. So you'll have to have a chat to me off air and let me know what's going on there. But we'll do that when we go to intermission in just a moment. So stick around, Chapo. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thanks.
And what configuration of Virginia is it, please? The full configuration or a shorter?
Full configuration. I think the full configuration will be good around there with these sort of cars. You do have those long straights, but also those tricky areas. And it's also one that they do in the officials as well. It's one of the very few sort of official tracks that we throw into this season.
Will be a very long lap for these cars. Probably only a 4-lap opening race, but that's okay. Good work. Thank you. John Merritt, to you. The master and the apprentice I described to those as you were coming across the finish line. We know that Chapo's racking up the wins in Formula V as well, but old experienced hand still finds his way to the top, and the championship delicately poised if you can keep rocking up each and every week here, mate, given that there's a drop round of 0 attached to your scorecard already.
Yeah, turning up will be key, mate, and not slipping the bingo cards in race 2, round 3, 4, 5 would be handy as well.
Yes,
so,
yes.
Race 2 is my nemesis at the moment, but other than that, it's been some good fun.
However, hot lap, that was a nice recovery. I mean, yep, a lot had to go wrong for a few cars and competitors around you, but it did, and you were able to salvage a podium finish in that second race.
Yeah, mate, it probably luck. Like when you sort of pick up a little bit of what'll be probably aero damage, mate, it feels like 100 horsepower on the straights, and it's probably 3 horsepower, but makes a massive difference, Zach.
Indeed it does, and obviously that is, as everyone has already highlighted, the danger associated or attached to the invert race here, mate, especially on a circuit like Long Beach.
Yeah, mate, I like to get amongst it on the start without being too silly, and I've probably paid the price these last 3 rounds, but mate, the luck will turn, I'm sure.
Very nice, and some interesting tactics there to keep Chapo at bay, keep him guessing with regards to trying to latch on and grab the slipstream in the draft from you, and he just wasn't able to find a way by.
Oh, mate, you couldn't drop the draft. You know, it was all third gear stuff. I think I was just fortunate that last lap, but Chapo was a box full of neutrals. I heard the revving as we came out of the hairpin on the second to last lap, and went, I might have just got lucky here, because the draft was quite large down that front straight.
Indeed it was, or front curve as we ended up referring to it as here in central commentary. There's nothing straight about that kink in the main straight.
Final turn, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the other thing as well, like probably luckily for some of you, that there isn't too much to be gained, but there's a lot more to be lost off that final corner given how tight and narrow it is.
Yeah, Chapo was a bit quicker into the hairpin than I was, but we were sort of taking the corner differently. But 100%, you get the inside wall, you get the outside wall, or try and square it off too much, and there's a lot to lose. Especially in these, you don't have the horsepower to recover it.
Thoughts on Virginia next week?
Yeah, good track, love it.
All right.
I don't know about this Lebanon. Never heard of it.
You weren't here for the GT3 round we had there a couple of terms.
Don't own it. It might be one of those buy it that night specials, I think.
I would strongly advise to maybe buy it 24 hours beforehand and at least get another result.
Give me a chance here.
I'll say this though.
Yes.
For the Formula Vs, I think it might be spot on.
It could well be. It's going to be one of those wildcard sort of circuits. It could either be really entertaining stuff, really edgy seat stuff, or it could be an absolute dud. We'll wait and see.
Which continent does Lennon
France.
live on? France. Right.
Europe. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
The continent of France, same place as the Melbourne.
Same.
I was going with I was thinking he was going to ask me the question, the country, and then I heard continent after I'd already started answering the question. That's okay. So yes, France, Europe, we've covered all bases. Yeah.
It's getting late up north there, Zach. Surely it'll be dark.
Oh, don't worry, it's not late, but it's bloody well dark, let me tell you that, mate. It's been dark for about an hour and a half. All right, that's enough for you blokes. Drop off. We're going to a break. It's nice to have your company. Well done again, gentlemen. Thursday night motorsport on the platforms of the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club. I'm getting stitched up here, so we're getting out of it. We're going to a break. We're partway through the double header of Thursday night motorsport with thanks to Spreyton Cider on night 4 of week 5 in the opening term of 2024. Yes, these guys are at the halfway mark of their run. The downhill slope to the checkered flag begins next week. Looking forward to that immensely. From Virginia, you'll see it 7:40 Eastern Daylight Time right here on the platforms of the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. But stick around. With the main course done, the dessert follows, and we go Porsche racing from Brands Hatch on the other side of this. Live continuing coverage of Spreyton side of Thursday Night Motorsport for you on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube brings us into West Kingsdown in Kent in England off the back of Spreyton side of Formula V from Long Beach in California in Los Angeles. We head over to, from the United States, we head over to Europe, to Great Britain, to England. One of the great racetracks anywhere in the world. It's tight, it's challenging, it offers very little in the way of overtaking opportunities, but it offers high risk and high reward as well. Little margin for error around here, and a great venue for another sprint round in the Spreyton side of Porsche Cup. Zach Cabin and Daniel Correa with you as we continue our coverage. Term 1, Week 5, Night 4. There are the point standings as far as the Porsches are concerned at the moment. The open split, Matty Dench on top. Hang on. No, that's last year's end of season standings. Right, let's go to 2024A if we can. And I've got them here in front of me, so you go at your own pace, Daniel. 256 for Matt Dench, 215 for Teo Serrato. After an incident of great controversy and drama last week and excitement. Sebastian Spicer 201, Dane Snadden 163, 162 for Ben Faulkner and 158 for Trent Allen make up the top 6. Todd Haynes 7th on 152 points, great run from him last week. Then Adam Hayne, Jared Knight make up the top 10. Now, that's one notable admission tonight. No Jared Knight. Not surprising either after iRacing disqualified him from the GT3s on Monday night. He's had a horrid run of it of late. There is the circuit and weather information for you. 3.89 kilometres this circuit, clockwise direction, 18 degrees. The ambient 20 on track. We're at 12:30 in the afternoon, February 21, 2024. Or 1912 if you're in Queensland. 81% humidity, cloudy conditions, 4 km/h winds. There's not much else there that we need to elaborate on. There's the grid for race 1. Matt Dench, Corey Lazarus front row. I love this. We're racing in Great Britain. It's dark cloud. It's 12:30 in the afternoon, and we've got headlights on, not dissimilar to a lunchtime storm in Queensland. Todd Hayne, Teo Serrano 2nd, Jonathan Hooper, Dane Snadden 3rd, Sebastian Spicer and Chook Fung Wong 4th, Paul Wilson and David Baz from row 5. 6 is Ryan Preston and Adam Laver. 7 is Brett Bradbury and Joe Baldwin. 8th row is Sam Stride and Tristan Koch. So we're ready to rock and roll. The race ended in great controversy last week with that incident between John Merritt and also Teo Serrato. Teo back on the grid. That incident's still under investigation. It's gone to the stewards now, not race control, after last week's post-mortem extended well into the wee hours of Friday morning. Now we wait to see what the stewards have to say about it, because it was one of those borderline calls. Sprint racing the order of the day here, and that means that we've got a 16-minute race first up, followed by a 27-minute race second up. We've got Matt Dench and Corey Lazarus sharing the front row. Todd Hayne was the great, fly under the radar achiever, a quiet achiever last week. Teo Serrano is going to line up alongside him in that Team Australia reflective or inspired livery. And Jonathan Hooper and Dane Snadden. Hooper again the best placed of the open split here. The elite split being led off by Matt Dench, the 8-time champion, the incumbent. But ready to rock and roll. And 16 minutes around the Brands Hatch circuit in England. All cars coming into position now. Jonathan Hooper's going to start from pit lane. That's an interesting call. There he is on pit road on the jacks. Let's go. Spreyton side of Thursday. Oh, massive jump start for Todd Hayne. He got Matt Dench on the way through. What the hell was that? He's gone at the last red light, not the first green light. Todd Hayne's got an invoice to pay. It'll be a drive-through penalty or a stop and hold, one or the other. Matty Dench won't have to worry too much about that. It won't be a clean race for Dench. He haven't got cleaned up on the way through. But he will be able to control this race and let Todd Hayne go and come down pit road at his own speed, in his own time. Whoa, tight and narrow and congested further back in the pack, as Adam Lavis has Brett Bradbury and Joe Baldwin and Sam Stride for company, and so too Tristan Koch. Back straight for the first time. An 11-lap race here. Todd Hayne, the big storyline, a jump start after a finish of second last week, being the beneficiary of that incident between Merritt and Serrano. And now he's given himself an invoice to pay from the outset here. What drama off the start. And what's going to be more interesting is the invert situation for the second race. The invert for the second race will shake things up, and it will force these drivers to get on the attack. Bang. Thanks for coming, Denchi. Was there any real damage to the front end of Haynes' car? I'm not sure.
You can see the back of... yeah, so he'll serve that penalty, and you can see, if we jump on board with Gloria Lads, we've gone to the roof there, have a look. You can see that yellow line is distorted there. That is the damage caused on the back of Matthew Dench's car due to that collision at the start of the race. So an unfortunate start for him. I don't know if that'll affect him too much in terms of performance. It's on the back half of the car, so aerodynamically it should be okay. But of course, this is sprint, not an enduro, so yeah, shouldn't be too much. What was his reaction time? -0.
Yeah, 0 points. I'd say he went half a second before the field went. Jeez, that's a big jump start. So race 4 of a 5-leg edition of Thursday Night Motorsport for you. We go from the main course into dessert. Race 1 of 2 for round 5 of the Porsches. You get 5 for the price of 2 tonight, ladies and gentlemen. It's an all-sprint marathon. That's David Bads going round the wrong way and lighting it up on his return to the racetrack. Back we go to Paul Wilson, 6th place at the moment, last of the elite split rather competitors at this end of the field. And Chook Funk Wong, Adam Lavis, Joe Baldwin and Ryan Preston arguing over the same piece of real estate. And Wilson up on the outside of Dane Snudden. Wilson up into 5th on the outside of Snudden. Now Teo Serrano's come to pit lane as well. Now I think we might need a second replay of the start here, because Ryan Preston's come to pit lane, Teo Serrano's come to pit lane. There are unscheduled pit stops happening left, right and centre. Todd Haynes' return to the racetrack in 10th place could yet be the beneficiary of the invert, having transited the lane. Jonathan Hooper got back out on the racetrack after a first starting in pit lane, and secondly, then also going into pit lane at the end of the opening lap. Teo Serrano back out on the racetrack after a stop at the end of the second lap of 5.38 seconds. What the hell's going on here? 17 seconds for Ryan Preston. This is a 16-minute sprint race. This is not, and I stress, this is not a mini enduro or the feature race in which we are expecting splash and dash stops. That's really bizarre from Jonathan Hooper.
Why did he stop? Yeah,
well, that's right.
I'm not sure about that one.
No, and all that's working into Todd Haynes' favour, because he's now on the back of Sam Stride and coming home in 10th if nothing changes from this point. Serrano's stop was even weirder. He
stopped back there, disappeared, and then jumped to his pit box. Let's see. I have no idea what is happening here, but... Serrano's
down a lap. That's what you need to know. Serrano's down a lap already.
Well, it's showing him as out completely.
Actually, right now it is. Yeah, correct. It's now. It looks as though he's just disconnected and jumped out. He's had a gutful. He has hit the eject button, the fast escape. He's gone.
Whoa, Baldwin and Lavis.
Baldwin and Lavis side by side, the teammates. Baldwin gets ahead for now.
That's the practice showing.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Don't say too much. No, that was very sneaky, very crafty, good racing from...
So at the front, all the gaps have really expanded. Matthew Dench is now second in front of Lazarus there. Spicer, 4.5. Paul Wilson, almost 1.5 back as well. And so the only real battles are the ones that are on your screen right now. So Adam Lavis encroaching on Joe Baldwin here, and Todd Hayne has also, look at that, Todd Hayne's just going to shoot right up on the outside, it looks like. to the inside of the next turn? Yes, he does. Of course, he will have the pace advantage, as we know. Todd Hayne, one of the faster drivers there in the elite split. And of course, they aren't even fighting for class honours. He's just trying to make his way through. So the real fight is between Joe Baldwin and Adam Lavis. However, it is Chuk Fung Wong that is leading the open class. Looks like Dane Snadden also looking to make a move on Paul Wilson at some point. He's done well to stick there with Paul after losing a position to him earlier on the lap before. And Chuk Fung Wong's also closing a gap to them as well. Again, separate classes, so nothing really here on the points side of things, but still, it'll always be a nice feeling for the open class to beat one of the elite boys.
Absolutely. 1:24.692, fastest lap of the race for Denchi so far, and a lead of 1.18 already. So, if anything, he's got it under control.
Oh, but Paul Wilson goes wide, and then allows Dane Snadden to go right up on the outside. And so Dane Snadden having to be 4.
Well done, Dane Snadden.
Also, I'll just shout this out because I love it. As you can see, that is a pink livery there on Chuk Fung Wong's car. That is the Project AO entry in the WEC. I believe. So usually that car is green. That livery is Rexy, but in that case, that's pink. The only pink one I'm aware of is actually on the LMP2, and that one's called Spike in the real world. So it looks to see he has a pink version of the Rexy livery on his Porsche, but I do enjoy it nonetheless. Stands out, that's for sure. Just like and I refuse to say the name because it's the dumbest name in the history of F1 team names, but the new Sauber.
Oh, yeah, the credit card. Yes.
The both of them are terrible.
The cash line, yes.
Yes, but the Sauber, you will never mistake. You can spot that thing from a mile away. Fluoro, green, and black. So Paul Wilson had a mistake again. That's allowed Chuk Fung Wong to get past now. So Paul Wilson will have to work double time to catch Dane Snadden there in P3. Matthew Dench still leading this race by about a second there. Corey Lazarus is catching up, but we've only got, what's that, 4 laps to go here because it is sprint round, so they are lap based. And it seems like Matthew Dench has no sign of slowing down, and nor should he. There's no fuel saver required in the sprint round. Or at least not in the first one. In the second one, of course, it is elongated, so there will be a pit stop to pay. But we don't have to worry about just yet. And as far as gaps in the rest of the grid, they are all out of control. Dane Snadden 10 seconds back from that leading front two. Todd Hayne 4 seconds back from Paul Wilson. Joe Baldwin 2 seconds back from him. And then unfortunately Brett Bradbury having an unfortunate start to his race. All the way down in P12, now 10 seconds behind Kosh in 11th. Sebastian Spicer saying the power went out. Oh, is this for... Okay, yeah.
Now, Sebastian Spicer was running... Well, he was due to start 7th and unfortunately has dropped out in the last, 2 minutes or so. Literally, Denchi's just completed lap 7 and Spicer's dropped out on lap 6 now. What you'll find is that he's only showing us 5.56 laps. So, because the power's dropped out, his car is, figuratively, it probably won't show up if we were to go and find it, but it is, in the eyes of iRacing, parked, ghost-like, somewhere around the circuit. Now, I missed that, having been tied up replying to a comment on a Sydney 300 forum. Whilst we're going here, I'm trying to multitask, and I don't do it very well. But yes, no real change at the top end of town. Dench leads Lazarus. The margin is the only thing that's shrunk a little bit. Lazarus has reeled that into 0.6 of a second, but Dench is just controlling the race and doing what he has to do. Yeah.
So
Dench, Lazarus, Snadden, Fang Wong, and Wilson. That's 1, 2, and 3. Well, 3, 4, and 5 at the moment. Payne, Baldwin, Lavis, and then Stride, Baz, Kosh, Bradbury, and Preston.
So I'm not sure if it's accurate because I didn't get an updated driver list, but I do believe Stride is new, and that is why he's showing as the red icon there on the timing tower, which means he is unclassified. So it'll be interesting to see where he lands himself in these sprint races and whether or not that puts him in the open or pro or elite split, I should say. And unfortunately, yeah, it does seem as we wind down these last couple of laps, it is turning into a little bit of a processional race after all that chaos at the start.
The only thing is we've got 2 battles in the top 5 for track position. So that one on screen and the one just ahead of it, but it doesn't actively look like anyone's duking it out or in any sort of hurry to fight for track position. They seem to be quite content to just settle into a rhythm, follow the leader, consolidate the points, and then have at it in race 2, knowing full well that that's where the danger lies with the invert of the top 10, which will see some of our open split competitors thrust up to the order to the front of the field. At the moment, David Baz sits in the invert position after that earlier spin. Todd Haynes worked his way up back to 6th spot. 6th after the jump start and the drive-through. I think he'd take that.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely would have. He'd be kicking himself because of that jump start too.
Yeah, a case of what might have been for him, no doubt about that.
But it also does show a little bit of the, let's say, higher skilled of drivers, because he jumped the start, knew he'd jump the start, knew he'd have to serve the penalty anyway, and so he just kept it going. He didn't stop, he didn't try to fix anything, he just went, well, I'm getting a penalty anyway, and he just launched it. So he made the mistake, but he committed to the mistake.
Yes, exactly. And that's the thing, at least, you know, I mean, it reminds me actually, my good friend, and she'll hate me saying this, but she won't be tuning in because she's at a Matchbox 20 concert in Melbourne tonight, Lisa Tatani. Right, hates getting caught up on television cameras, hates accidentally, unintentionally walking into shot, but didn't recently at Sandown during the TCR Australia round. She's now the category manager for TCR. But instead of committing to just walking straight through the shot, as she half realised that she was doing it, there's a quick glance at the camera with an oops look on her face, and then quickly exiting behind the way she came. Just commit to at least. Just walk on straight through. In fact, wave next time if you want. And same thing here. At least Todd Hayne, he committed to the mistake, and it's a bit like well, so, you know, to finish the point, he owned it. He thought, well, it's not going to hurt anymore if I stop. It's probably actually going to cost me more if I stop and start again. So I'm going to wear the same invoice. So I may as well just cop it and just go and own it. A bit like if you're going to go down for armed robbery, like do it properly. You know, I mean, you know, no good going into the Polvo shop down the corner and, you know, taking $15 worth. You may as well go the whole hog of a bloody pristine, expensive jewellery store. Not encouraging that, by the way, folks. Not condoning it. Just, you know, using it as an example. Case in point, went down to Runaway Bay. October a couple of years ago, had a function to attend, and here I am looking for a free parking spot, and I've managed to do that within 500 metres of where I'm going. Denchi's on the final lap, by the way, folks. There's not much happening here except for Chook Fung Wong all over the back of Paul Wilson. Dane Snadden's brought himself a little bit of breathing space. Todd Haynes latching onto the back of these blokes. Will Fung Wong have a look down on the inside? No. Wilson holds on for now. Let me come back to that. I'll finish the point about Runaway Bay. In the meantime, Denchi's got this under control. He's got this race well and truly in his kitty, in his bag, wrapped up, signed, sealed, delivered and secured. Matt Dench gets the job done. Are we surprised at all? No. In race 1, of round 5, a Spreyton side-up Porsche Cup. Second to Lazarus, and then 16 seconds down the road to everybody else. Dane Snadden, a well-deserved third, up 3 spots on where he started. Paul Wilson up 5 spots on where he started in 4th. And Chuk Fung Wong up 5 spots on where he started in 5th. And he's the winner of the open split following the demise of Jonathan Hooper, who got back out there a lap down. Sebastian Spicer and Teo Serrano out of business. Spicer has got back out there, but will finish 3 laps down. Now, will that be... Let me just have a look here. Daniel Correa-Sar, just to add insult to injury. If I go 11 minus 25%, 8.25. You wouldn't fair dinkum believe this. He's going to cross the line there, but it's not going to be enough to be classified. He's going to be 3 laps down. He needed to get to 8.25 laps. He needed to finish 9 laps to be classified. Oh, wretched luck for Sebastian Spicer as the power's gone out and he's in momentarily. He's got back out there, but he will be on a salvage mission for the second race. Interesting to note that we've got Joe Baldwin standing on by to have a quick chat with us here. And there are the results for you. Dench, Lazarus, Snadden, Wilson, Fung Wong, the winner of the open split. Hayne, Baldwin, Lavis. Now, that was all at the demise of Hooper, who started late and then had an invoice to pay in pit lane on the second lap. Hayne in 6th after the jump start and all. That's quite a recovery. David Baz was 9th and Sam Stride will be 10th and therefore winner of the invert. Tristan Koch, Brett Bradbury, Ryan Preston, Jonathan Hooper, Sebastian Spice to take us back to the end of the field. Joe Baldwin, this is a nice little kick in the guts for you blokes in the open split, the way in which by starting at the front of the field you'll have a little bit of a leg up on the open split competitors that didn't finish inside the top 10.
Yeah, certainly it'll help out, but like, you know, when you got guys like Denchi, Lazarus, Snadden, you know, those guys, they're pretty damn fast. So I don't know how they'll go. Dave Baz starting up the front there. If he can keep it on the circuit, he should have a bit of a head start on those guys that don't have to get through. There's, I think, Adam, myself, and Chuk that they've got to try and make their way through to try and get onto the back of Dave. So it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, if Dave can keep it on the island, he should have a good chance of taking this one, at least the top 3 anyway. So yeah, good luck to him, and should make for a good second race.
Indeed it will be. Stay with me, trucker. Car's about to line up on the grid for race 2. I was in the middle of telling Daniel Correa-Sar a story with Runaway Bay. This is on the back of that man there, Todd Hayne, just owning his jump start. There he is, lighting it up. Have a look at that. Magnificent.
That's actually Tristan Koch.
Actually, no, it's Tristan Koch, my apologies. It's his teammate. It's someone from the same stable.
That's right.
So basically, when Todd Hayne made the jump start, instead of just, balking and thinking, oh, crap, I've made the mistake, I'm going to jam on the brakes, he knew he was going to cop the penalty suite. He knew he was going to be serving an invoice coming through pit lane. He just went through with it and owned it, right? Just didn't do it half backside, you know? So the point of that is I then made the comparison. I said, if you're going to go down for armed robbery or something like that, do it properly. Don't do it, half-cocked. Example of that. Right? Exactly. Example of that. Went to Runaway Bay last couple of years ago. Went to a function. Parked within 500 metres of where the function was being held. Second guessed myself about whether I locked the car, but then looked around and realised that my little i30 was sitting in amongst BMWs and Porsches and Audis and you name it, all the fancy cars that you'd ever want to own. And I was like, safest houses. They're not going to worry my i30 when they can help themselves to an Audi. I'm just going to keep on going. So good stuff.
I better jump on grid, guys. Good luck.
Good luck, mate. Go well. Enjoy. 3:30 in the afternoon server time. 19 degrees the track temperature at the moment. The ambient. I'll have a look at when Dave Dench's comment disappears there. We're ready to fire. Set to go. Race 2, round 5. Let's get into it on a Thursday night. Who is going to take a no-holds-barred approach to this? Off the line, Sam Stride starts well. Joe Baldwin goes with him up 2 spots already. Trucker David Baz to 3rd, Adam Lavis, Corey Lazarus. Have a look at him. Dench around the outside. Trying to get by Paul Wilson. Can't do it just yet. Now Will on the inside to the next corner, the left-hander. So this is a real aggressive rather than conservative approach from Matt Dench. And there's a reason for that. Joe Baldwin to the inside of Sam Stride to the lead. David Baz, Corey Lazarus, Chook Fung Wong and Adam Lavis make up the top 6. Adam Lavis dropping. Rogasaga Spuds thoroughly backwards at the moment. It's an 18 lapper, ladies and gentlemen. It's 27 minutes. Now, the reason for this, down the inside. Good move. Dane Snarden. Denchi's going to get 2 for the price of 1. Snarden got into the side of Lavis.
and
Opened
Todd
the door
Hay.
up beautifully for Dench, and Hayne to flip through on the inside as well. Now, this is exactly what we were talking about at the top of the broadcast, Daniel. This racetrack doesn't always lend itself to great overtaking opportunities. Race 1 proved that. To do it the way these guys are doing it, in the early stages here, they know that the pressure is on and the onus is on them to dig in and get it done early, and that's David Baz going off the racetrack whilst the field is rather well bunched up. Because if the field spreads out, it becomes a bit tougher task. The problem they've got, and oh, big one into the wall. That's a massive shunt. That's Sebastian Spicer. There's a couple of others that have gone with him. Todd Haynes involved. And so too is Tristan Koch. Bang! 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 They drop like a sack of spuds. Have a look at this. Paul Wilson got a little bit wide here. But the chain reaction, Wilson was an inadvertent bystander. He's gone off the racetrack. He's managed to limp his way. No, he's on the tow rope and on his way back to pit lane. Todd Hayne as well. Spicer, who set off the chain reaction there by veering off one wall into the other. He's actually limping it back to pit lane at the moment in 13th. Bang! Poor old Wilson and also the 91. Sorry, it was Todd Hayne that set off the chain reaction. My apologies. Sebastian Spicer was an innocent bystander. There was a lot happening right there, ladies and gentlemen. So Spicer's been able to limp it back to pit lane. Hayne and Wilson on the tow rope. I think I've made sense of that in the long run. Look at the racetrack go out from, yeah, bang. Poor old Sebastian had nowhere to go. So it was Todd Hayne that got brought undone. But he didn't go alone. And that comes back to the point that I was just in the middle of making as all hell broke loose there. Denchi's up 7 spots already. Corey Lazarus is up 7 spots already. They're both chasing Joe Baldwin. Baldwin's got a 0.9 of a second advantage over Lazarus and 1.1 back to Dench, who's bringing the rest of the train along. Hayne and Wilson, I'm not sure if they get one fast repair or none in this caper. And even if that's the case, they'll be on the tow rope for a little bit before they're released back out onto the racetrack. But the problem I've got with this racetrack, and we've already seen it illustrated perfectly, it's tight, it's narrow, there's little in the way of runoff area, right? And there's not very many, as we saw in race 1, legitimate overtaking opportunities. So we're seeing a totally different approach to, got to get the elbows out, they've got to be aggressive. When they make an overtaking manoeuvre, and it's a racing incident, unsurprisingly, in the eyes of race control, when they get the elbows, they've got to get the elbows out, they've got to be aggressive, they've got to go for overtaking opportunities, and they don't really have the option of bailing out of them. They've got to make it, commit to it, or risk the downfall that we've seen already for a couple here tonight. That was unfortunate, but it's a perfect illustration of why racing around here is not easy.
No, Brand Satch is a technical circuit. It's heralded by many drivers as one of the best in the world for the racing that it offers. And I'm not exactly sure what happened with Todd Hayne there, but it seems as though he had a slight snap of steering coming down the hill, which corrected him rightward into the fence. And then after that, there was no recovering it. And unfortunately for Paul Wilson and Sebastian Spicer, Seb had nowhere to go. Clapped right to the side of that car. And that was all she wrote for Todd Hayne, who is still in the pit lane. And I would assume that means either they do not have fast repairs, which I believe they do not, And so he might actually be out of this one entirely, as we're on lap 4 at the moment. So, oh, there's a lock up there. That's Dane Snadden.
Oh, Dane Snadden off the road.
Oh, that's an interesting.
Hang on. The rejoin left a little bit to be desired. But again, I mean, yeah, the elbows are out. The pressure is high stakes. Have a look at this. So let's ride on board with Snadden for the rejoin here. Oh. He would have had a price to pay if any of those cars had got caught up in that.
Yeah, for sure.
There's no doubt about that. So, I mean, but again, perfect illustration of why you've got to take a different approach to racing at this venue. He's denching all over the back of Lazarus and Baldwin, so he's latched onto them, and now Baldwin is the sitting duck. He can drag this train along as long as he likes, but he knows he's just the tow rope at the moment. Lazarus doesn't fancy sticking around all that long. He wants to fire it down the inside. Baldwin's not going to let him. So Baldwin's got two options here. He can control this race, or he can let the pro guys go and focus on the open split boys, who are 2.93 seconds down the road. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays it. Lazarus and Dench have done what they needed to do. They've got towards the front. Baz and Snadden off the road. And back on. Oh, Baldwin's thrown it away. The pressure was too much. He had prime seating. He was in the best position, and now he's lost the lead in the open split to Chook Fung Wong. Sam Stride's going to go through as well. Baldwin back to 5th. It's a 4-position loss. But yes, you've got to be aggressive here. I mean, yep. Sometimes it doesn't go right when you're executing an overtaking manoeuvre. We've seen many examples of that. Snadden and Baz. That's a bit hairy, a bit questionable. But around here, you cannot afford to half do it. You've got to. You cannot afford to second guess yourself. If you're presented with an overtaking opportunity, you've just got to dive in and go full send. That's right. And we might see an example of that lurking here very shortly from Matt Dench, unless he's going to lure Corey Lazarus into the usual position. Whoa! Hang on a moment. Denchy around the outside. Surely not. No. What the hell? That's a bit of a risk, unlike Matty Dench. There's the trap, lured.
Oh, I don't know if he's got it, though.
No, he hasn't. That was really committed driving from Corey Lazarus to keep Denchy at bay. The trap was set. He fell into it by allowing Dench the opportunity to pull up the up and under, and Dench was like, nah, keep leading. You'll be right. I'll just save a little bit more juice behind you, which is the usual trap, the usual trick that he gets up to. This is phenomenal stuff. Great stuff.
And this is all in the arsenal of a driver. It's all these little tricks that you can do to try and either get the driver in front of you to overcommit into a corner and then you pass just because of that mistake, or maybe you want to try and pressure them if you know that fuel saving isn't in their strong suit. Maybe you push on them harder to get them to use more fuel than you. Because, of course, the car in front is the one punching the hole through the air, and so more drag means the car behind has to use less fuel for the same speed. So all of this comes into play. But Matthew Dench really did look like on those pass on the previous lap here, as Corey Lazarus just getting a little sideways, but catches it nicely. He really did look like he was trying to make that move stick, and you can see him just tucking up again. So I wonder if Matthew Dench will look to go around. He does it again. And he won't get the move done this time by, but I'm curious if he tries to sneak it on the inside again. Let's watch. No, he takes a much easier approach this time. So yeah, it looks like Matt realised it wasn't going to work the first time. Now it's probably best to just stick behind. He does have more speed going through that section though. So right now Lazarus is doing a good job of defending, but I'm curious to see whether or not this means that when it comes to the fuel numbers, if there'll be a massive disadvantage between the two. The only thing is, for Matthew Dench to be pushing as much, to be applying this much pressure, does mean that he's also on the gas pedal. So, yeah, it'll be curious in the next coming laps to see how this all resolves.
Extraordinary drama here. Lazarus and Dench on lap 7 of 18. 10 and a half minutes gone, 16 and a half to go, and just 10 and a half laps. And that's the other danger around here. You saw Denchi riding the curb and a little bit of the grass patch on the other side of said curb. We have seen a couple of guys get it horribly wrong through there and take one blade of grass too many and pay the price.
There's a fuel save.
Was that a fuel save?
That's the fuel
Lazarus?
save. So
That's
he's
very
defending.
nicely done.
He's
Yep.
defending, but also, and there it is again. So he's copying it in. So he's doing both at the same time. This is fantastic. So one would assume Matthew Demp should also be doing the same. We'll jump on board with him on the next coming lap to see if he is in fact doing the same techniques in the same parts of the track. But for Corey Lazarus to be defending the pressure from Dench, as well as still committing to the fuel save. Look at it again. Yeah. Oh, this is racing, ladies and gentlemen.
This is really top shelf racing from Corey Lazarus, trying to play the same game as Matty Dench. Can he do it in the same way, in the same vein?
Oh, ho, ho, ho.
Oh, now that's interesting. So now that they've weaved their way through to the front, their tactics and approach have changed. And we've seen this a couple of times before, where the front-running car, the car defending, and you just saw it a moment ago, has been able to balk the car, the oncoming car behind them. Has been able to do it. Oh dear. Extraordinary. 10 minutes Todd Haynes been in pit lane for. His night's done. He won't get home on 75%, let alone anything else right now. And that's a really unfortunate way for that race to end for him. It was a really solid performance in the... off went Adam Lavis as well. It was a really solid effort from Todd Hayne to recover and finish 6th in race 1. He had a second crack at the cherry in race 2, as you often get in a sprint round, of course, and wasn't able to do anything with it. All over before it began, and went out in spectacular fashion and ruined the races for Paul Wilson and also Sebastian Spicer in the process. Spicer's back out on the black stuff, having limped his way home to pit lane. He's running down in 11th. And having stopped on lap 5, whether he can get home from there or not remains to be seen. He should be okay. Tristan Koch stopped on lap 6, so did Joe Baldwin. But yeah, Paul Wilson, being a lap down, is now just in a race for the minor placings. And just trying to salvage some championship points. So it was a 3-car incident, of which Spicer has got off the least damaged for wear there, and Todd Hayne, of course, the worst for wear, and rightly so, because he was the instigator.
Yeah, so we were on board with Matthew Dench for that entire lap, and he didn't pull the clutch in once. So
No.
does that... You can hear Lazarus's car. You could just hear it there over the broadcast. So is Corey fuel saving, but Matthew Dench isn't? So does that mean Corey Lazarus has the fuel advantage right now? What am I
Maybe so.
seeing?
But we're going to see the clearer full picture of this after the round of pit stops. Is Dench able to benefit from just sitting in behind and claiming the draft and the drag?
But
He usually does.
Enough to,
But
is the
this
idea
is-
to not stop?
Well, but that too. Could they drag this out? 13 seems to be the critical number here to keep an eye on, based on the fact that the first round of pit stops the first stop that we saw was lap 5 from Sebastian Spicer.
Yeah, there it is.
In
Ian.
terms of those-
There's the clutch kick.
In terms of those trying to stop and go to the checkered flag. This is exciting. I hope you're enjoying it as much as we are. I mean, it's certainly not your usual rip, tear, rush and bust, rumble in the jungle like sort of action that you get from the Porsches, but it's a race of a different kind. And it's equally as compelling and intriguing and engaging. We've got 7 laps to go when we get to the line. What tricks have both Corey Lazarus and Matthew Dench got up their sleeve here? It'll be interesting to see what the tactics are here.
I'm truly at a loss, and this could just be my ignorance here, but Corey Lazarus is doing some pretty intense fuel saving. He's clutching in at the majority of corners. You can hear it there again. Matthew Dench isn't, and Corey is using the nature of the track in order to fuel save, but also place the car so that Matthew Dench can't make a move. I can't quite pin it, but Corey should have the fuel advantage. So either Matthew Dench can save enough fuel to get to the end without having to go as egregious on the clutch because he's the car behind, or he hasn't noticed. And I'm going to assume it's not that, because that's not characteristic of 1M Dench. So lap 12 of 18, Corey's still in the lead of this race. Matt's right there, but I just can't figure out how this resolves, because they must be going for a no stop.
It seems that way. And that'll really frustrate our good mate Adam Lavis. Although that being said, he might be doing the same thing if he's aware of it and he's up to the challenge, because we know what he's like on the fuel saving front. But yet again, it would put that that fuel saving caper, that discussion point, at the forefront, as it has been. Actually, no, Lavis can't be. Lavis can't be going for the fuel save. He's in the lane at the end of lap 12.
And also,
Chook Fung Wong is as well, as is Ryan Preston and Brett Bradbury. David Baz has come in and stopped, and he's actually now parked up. So David Baz is out of the race. Paul Wilson continues on. Just 13 cars left on the racetrack. We've got 5 cars yet to stop. They are the 5 at the front of the field. Lazarus, Dench, Hooper, Stride and Snadden. Now, this is interesting too, Daniel, because as I said, normally Adam Lavis is the one that sets these servers up. Normally, if the front guys are fuel saving, he can go and do that punch for punch with the very best of them. But the fact that Lazarus and Dench have got to 13, can they get to 14 with Hooper, Stride and Snadden potentially stopping this time by? We will find out momentarily. They're coming down under the bridge to the final corner. This the end of the 13th lap, and there are just 5 to go. Dench is in! Dench is in! Dench is in! Whoa, it just got interesting all of a sudden. Matty Dench is on the lane. And Corey Lazarus continues on for a 14th lap. He's one up Denchy. He's gone a lap further than the Dench mark. This is uncharted territory. Dench across the lane, out in 4.9. 4.9 is a very short stop, considering the next best is Sebastian Spicer at 5.9. This just got spicy.
When have you ever known this to be the case? So Corey Lazarus is the one now to go the extra lap, and I'll stay on board here with the bonnet cam. Just have a look. Just have a listen. You're probably not going to hear the clutch come in now. You know why? Because he is going to put in the fastest in lap to get down to the pit lane. So Matthew Dench was, I suppose, fuel saving in one sense, but had to pit it early. Now, does he think that he can put in a better out lap than Corey could possibly? And you can tell he's pushing. Corey's pushing hard. He just went off, trying to keep it there. So obviously Corey will come in this time by. Now, remember, Zach, last week you told Matt that we were coming to Brands Hatch, and he was happy because it's one of his favourite tracks.
Yep, Lazarus is in at the end of 14. And unfortunately, with that little mistake, is there an invoice to pay? And is that invoice losing out to this bloke, Matty Dench? He's in the box.
He's going to have almost nothing in a pit stop. Look at this.
5.5.
You'll see a Porsche up there. Here it comes.
And then Dench, here he comes.
There's the pit limiter.
Denchi has got him around the outside. Dench has done it again. Do we put that down to the mistake that Lazarus made or not? I'm not entirely sure. Do we put it down to the 0.6 of a second that Denchi saved in the lane? Most likely. The margin is 0.7. That is phenomenal yet again from the Dench mark as we watch Ryan Preston coming undone round the left-hander. Grass and Porsches. Not a good combo. Not a good combo. It's all happening. It is all happening on a Thursday night. Off goes Adam Lavis as well, back on in 8th place. 4th place in class at the moment. Chuk Fung Wong leads the open split ahead of Hooper, Baldwin and Lavis. And the elite split is Dench, Lazarus, Spicer, recovery of the year, that one, up into 5th place. Up 10 spots on where he started, having got caught up in that garbage earlier. Dane Snadden is the next best there. Sam Stride, we're not sure which split he's going to be wedged into, so we won't comment on that just now. Paul Wilson's a lap down, Brett Bradbury's a lap down, David Baz is out of the race, and Todd Hayne may as well be. He's still in pit lane, but he'll take no further part. Dench across the line. Oh, no, Corey Lazarus, what happened there? It looked as though he lost a tremendous amount of speed off the final corner, and Dench's lead is out to 2.2. Dench's lead is out to 2.2. How disheartening is it, though, when someone like Denchi sits in there, follows you for 13 laps, and then says, you know what, you can follow me now, and then just disappears. 1:24.6 last time around for Dench, the fastest lap of the race. No one else in the 24s. Dench has punched out a 24.6.
What is
And
going
it sounds
on?
as though Lazarus's car is giving out on him. Is there a mechanical issue within his sim rig that we're not aware of? Because it looks as though the engine's gone on that car. He's limping this thing home. Corey Lazarus is out of business. There's no doubt about it. Dench's lead is ballooned out to 8 seconds, and Corey Lazarus is done. Chuk Fung Wong and Jonathan Hooper are all of a sudden fighting for second in the motor race once they reel in Corey Lazarus. Whew. Extraordinary. And it is disheartening for Lazarus. Works on pulling off every trick and trade in the book, and still it ends up in despair and heartbreak. It ends up with him on the losing side of the ledger. Dench is 2 laps from home. Dench is 2 laps home from a clean, 2 laps from a clean sweep. Lazarus continues on. Now it looks as though he's found something there. Last time around a 1:41.5. Hooper and Fung Wong are 6 seconds away. Will Lazarus be able to keep these guys at bay? Has he got his issues sorted? Yeah, I don't really know how to explain all of that, if I'm honest with you. Yeah, Gordon Marshall makes a good point. He makes a very good point. I would be too. I would be too if I was him. Just, yeah. It's deflating. And Jared Knight's spoken about it before, you know. There's nothing you can do to outmaster the benchmark.
It is, but at the same time, like, would you not hold your head high that you got it that far?
Absolutely.
That's got to be the best, or at least I've ever seen, defence to Matthew Dench. Usually it's Denchi that's going one extra lap, but this time it was Corey. Now I really hope he comes into the commentary booth with us, because I want to know what happened there as to why he had that slowdown. We have the white flag. You can see it on the top left. Matthew Dench has taken the white flag and is now on the last lap. But, and Lazarus has come into the pits. And I think that might be him done. Now, what was his last pit ride? It was 5
That's the white
seconds.
flag, all right.
So,
unbelievable.
what's the deal? Is he pitting for
He's
something?
parked up. I don't think he'll come back out. I really don't know what's happened there. It's one of the more bizarre moments and downfalls of a competitor. He's out. He has come back out onto the racetrack, but it was 16.5 seconds that he was stationary for. It is one of the more bizarre demises we've ever seen from a guy that brought so much to the table tonight, but yet again falls short of the mark. And Denchi's going to take a near 20-second win.
Look.
No.
So Dench pit. So
Dench is fuel saving now.
God.
Dench is fuel saving now.
If that's not the most 4D chess you've ever seen. So he knew that he had to do a shorter pit stop and fuel save to the lot.
And he's done it. He's done it.
Oh my God.
That's why he's the Dench mark. We've done it so many times. Dench does the double in Great Britain at the Brands Hatch circuit, just to stick another dagger in the heart of Corey Lazarus and all of the team there at, what is it, Blackout Electrical, isn't it? So, I mean, what
15 seconds stop and hold for speeding. Oh, surely not.
Surely not.
If that is what happened, if that is what happened, oh my Lord, if Corey Lazarus got done for speeding. Now, look, here's the thing. When we cut to him coming into the pit lane, he did, in fact, slide across the pit lane. I'll try and find it while we still have some time.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can find it.
I'm somewhat lost for words, actually. After all of that, I mean, it was the first time that we'd really seen anyone take the fight to Denchi. Really put him under the pump, as was proven by the fuel save on the run to the line. But yet again, here it is. That didn't look all that bad to me. Unless they pipped him for speeding on the exit. Surely not.
Possibly. I really hope he comes in and talks to us. I want to know exactly what's going on with that, because
a lot to pick apart in that.
Yeah.
I don't really know where to start. How about this though? I mean, in amongst all the fanfare that'll be made about the winner of the open split was Jonathan Hooper, holding off Chuk Fung Wong by 0.3 of a second, and they were second and third outright. Now, yet again, another example of A, what happens in a depleted field, and B, what happens in races like this, where the stakes are higher, the intensity's higher, overtaking comes at a premium, real estate is king, track position is king, and what happens when it goes wrong for those behind you, attrition and other things, and there was a fair bit of that tonight. The open split guys, Jonathan Hooper's come from 14th on the grid, Chuk Fung Wong from 6th. And they finished second and third. And Sebastian Spicer, a great recovery up to 11 spots to 4th. Joe Baldwin will be third home in the open split. Stride, Lavis, Lazarus 8th, Snowden and Kosh 9 and 10. It was, absolutely, it was different to the usual way, Dave Dench, no doubt about that. But he's still found his way to the top step of the summit. Another double, another round win, another nail on the coffin as far as this championship contest is concerned. And Haney confirming what we already knew, that he got a perfect start. It was just before the green light had turned on, before the red lights had gone out. That was a blinder of a start. But as we said, Haney, and we appreciate you still tuning in, mate. And unfortunately, the second race didn't go all that well for you either. And I'm sure that you owe Paul Wilson and Sebastian Spicer a cold one after that as well. Though the innocent bystanders caught up in your car pinballing off the two Armco barriers. At least you're committed to it, mate. Rather than stop and go again, rather than pull yourself up and reset and go once the lights actually went out. You committed to it full send and owned the jump start and went through with it. Good work. Because at the end of the day, if it had stopped and waited, it would have lost all its momentum, would have lost a lot more ground, and may not have been able to get back as far up the field as he did. in that race. So, no, well done. That's a player of the match performance as far as I was concerned. Dench is the player of the match. You've got to feel sorry for Corey Lazarus. There was definitely some fuel saving going on Dench's part at the end. That was a huge clutch coming out of the second last corner on the run out of the final corner. The car would have been running on fumes at the end, and he still won the race by 18.7 seconds to add insult to injury. That's the incident we were talking about for Todd Hayne. And yeah, wow, just wow. Another great Thursday night on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. But I was right, wasn't I, in saying that it was a different vibe to usual for these guys, especially for Denchi. We don't normally see him that full on the gas, that aggressive on the throttle, that aggressive on the racing front so early in the piece. They knew that they had to go hard, go early or go home on this circuit for all the reasons we've mentioned.
Yeah, that's right. And so they did. I mean, it was an aggressive last race. I'm just still so curious as to what it is that happened to Corey Lazarus right at the end of the race. And it doesn't
Didn't
look
put
like...
in enough fuel.
Is that it? He didn't put in enough fuel?
Yeah, it has to be. It's about the only thing it could be, I think. Adam and I had a look at it. He was only stopped for 5 seconds.
But more than that, when he returned to the pit lane, it was 16.5, Joe, which doesn't make sense if he's only coming in for a top-up on the last lap. But so,
I don't think he got, he never had incident points, so
right.
I'm just having a look here now. Corey only had 7 incidences, so it just had to be fuel. There's no other thing it could be, I think.
And despite all the saving, he hit the markers, nailed the 1%ers, and just tripped up where it mattered most, if that's the case.
Yeah.
As for your own race, Joe.
Oh, that meant,
No. All being fair and equal, Trucker, that wasn't too bad. I mean, started 4th, finished 5th. And as a result of that, that was good enough for 3rd in the open split.
Yeah, it was. It probably should have been, looking at that, I probably should have been just in front of somewhere around Jonathan or Chook at the end. I had a couple of self-half spins. When the guys come up behind me here to lap me, they got close. I was actually surprised, to be honest, at the pace I was holding. I wasn't that far off, but they were probably saving fuel to try and get through without stopping to start with, to be fair, whereas I was going like clappers. But when they got up behind, when I actually went off at that second last corner, I was actually about to let them by, and I was too busy looking in the mirror, and I just went and touched the grass, and so I lost time there, and I thought, I might as well pit straight away, and then had another couple of half self-spins. So self-inflicted, but it was fun nonetheless to be up there, and it was a cracking start.
Absolutely. Have a look at the banter between the family of Hayne on Stress Budget Racing Get Lost Dad. Very nicely done. That's one dinner discussion I'm glad I'm not part of, or breakfast discussion tomorrow morning in their case. Well done. Looking forward to Todd Haynes, a dead set star in this caper. Flew under the radar last week, came through, cleaned up second. Was the star of the round tonight for very different reasons. The jump start in race 1, then the big shunt, the big one in race 2. And we'll wait to see what he brings to the table next week. Going to be hard to top the last 2 weeks. Joe, we've been graced with the presence of Mr. Lazarus, Mr. Dench, and Mr. Lavis in the booth at this point in time.
Get on to it.
Stay with me here, Joe. I'm going to come back to you in a moment. Corey, I have to start with you, unfortunately. Just confirm for us exactly what happened there, mate, towards the end. We saw you come out of the lane. We saw an incredibly slow lap not long after that. Then we see you go back into the lane for 16 seconds. Why?
Hey guys, long time no speak. I hit the pit limiter button on the exit of the pits, not that orange cone. There's the orange cones that sit just behind the Porsche pace car, and I hit it then instead of the green cones. So I got a 15-second stop and hold, and then that slow, the extra super slow lap was because I just conceded to Maddie he was gone, so I thought I'd have a crack at the fastest lap. That didn't work either.
No, that didn't work either, unfortunately for you.
I demand a recount.
Yes. Daniel Correa-Sarr and I, well, that's what Daniel's speculation was. Joe's speculation was fuel, but having seen your time and seen Denchi's time, I was a little bit sceptical on that. Daniel's made a little bit more sense because 15-second stop and hold, 16.5-second stop. Mate, great race from you. Great start and great second race. Great first race with the second to Denchi there. You kept him honest. The second race, you guys... how did you, talk us through it from your perspective, because it's no good me sitting here trying to justify it for you, because I've been crapping on for the last 25 minutes or so, telling everyone at home that the usual approach to those invert races where you play the waiting game, you play the patient game, that goes out the window at a circuit like this for very obvious reasons. So how did you change your mindset and your approach, knowing that it's Brands Hatch, knowing that you have to get in and get it done early, knowing that you have to commit to your overtaking opportunities and make them stick or pay the price, knowing that if you don't get in and force that gain in track position early, the race is gone for you?
Well, at the start I was just going to go hell for leather and try and make some places on Denchi and see if he gets stuck behind the traffic, but by the end of the first lap he was like one car back, so I thought, well, there's no point in going hell for leather, so I just went back to the field save mode, which I have been working on extremely hard in the last 6 months whilst I've been away from GSRC, and yeah, it was just back to field save mode from there, and we managed to get one extra lap on Denchi, which was a surprise. It didn't sound like Matty was clutching too much behind me. It did sound like he was letting off, but yeah, mate, after the first lap, just trying to save as much fuel as you could. There's no point in trying to empty the tank too quickly.
No, not at all. In saying that though, we were riding, Daniel Correa-Sarr was enthralled and captivated by the cat and mouse games of you pair. We were riding along with Denchi. It didn't appear as though there was too much in the way of fuel saving going on from his onboard, from the audio that we could pick up. I'm sure that he's going to confirm otherwise in just a few moments, because sitting in behind you brings with it its own benefits. But from yours, when we rode on board with you, there was some significant clutching going on. Are you any closer to upping the champ at his own game?
A lot closer than it was last time I contested against Matty, that's for sure. A hell of a lot closer. Like when we go back to Silverstone earlier this season, we ended up on the same fuel strat. We did the same amount of laps there as well. So yeah, to answer your question shortly, yes, we're getting a lot closer to him. He's still the best in the business, no doubt, hands down, and still the fastest out there, but we're closing the gap.
I have a question for Corey there. Did you feel enough to run flat out to the end there? Or?
Yeah, I did. In that second race we did. Yep. So sorry, you go.
I'm extremely glad you got the penalty there, because I feel the lap short.
And I'm gonna say on this too. And this is so when we cut on board to you, Matt, I heard you cutting. As you were doing the white lap, I heard you cutting, and I'm thinking, hold on a minute, you've done this in reverse. You've decided to pit, feel short, and then come out and then pit save at the end. And so I'm just like, oh, what am I watching? This is ridiculous.
Well, just before Denchi chimes back in here and answers your query, Daniel Correa-Sarr, can I just say it's very nice of him to actually take the microphone off me and lead the discussion. It's like we're on the ABC and it's Q&A. It's fantastic. Denchi, in response to what Daniel Correa-Sarr was saying, how did you make that mistake, if I can call it that? It didn't end up being a mistake. You still won the bloody race, but you fueled a lap short. Why? Was it tactical? Was it unintentional?
Like 100% of my focus was just trying to sit on the back bumper of Corey there, and I had one lap left in the tank, and it didn't sound like Corey was slowing down to go in pit lane, so I snuck in there, and as I was stopping in my pit box, I was like, cool, the fuel calculator says 5 litres, let's send it, and I do a fast lap, and it's like, yeah, you need 2 more litres. It's like,
Oh, man. I demand they move that cone. Get rid of it? I cannot believe that all came undone because of a pit lane infringement.
That is so funny. No, well done, nicely played, Matty. It's that because I saw you coming down the straight, so I thought, well, man, I got to get back on this quickly. And, yeah, hit the wrong cone, but well done, nicely played, mate.
Todd Haynes still owning the fact that he led a race for a lap, despite the fact that he got pinged for a jump start, and everyone noticed it, even here in commentary. It didn't go as secretively as you would have liked it to. In saying all that, wow, I don't even really know where to start with that. That's unfortunate for you though, Corey, but it's not a penalty that hasn't fallen upon Denchi or anybody else somewhere down the line. To hit every marker though, 99 out of 100, and just slip up there, that's got to be disappointing.
It's funny, I'm not really disappointed because I think it's evident in the improvement in my pace and my fuel saving, and the attrition rate on the tyres as well. So I mean, I'm very happy to be competing. Like in that first race, Denchi and I just pulled a nice handy gap on the field, and wasn't quite good enough there. But yeah, no, to be fair, mate, I'm not disappointed at all. Yeah, we're on the improve, which is good.
I'm going to jump in real quick. I don't have a camera pointed at me when I do this, but if you were to see the look of confusion on my face when we were on board with you, Corey, and I'm hearing you clutch and pull in and fuel save, and I'm not hearing Dench do the same, and my head is trying to do the math, and it's going, but this isn't how this works. It's usually Dench that's doing this. And then when he came into the pit and you kept going, I'm like, oh my God, is this how the turntables? Is this what's happening? And then yeah, to hear that you got a penalty, honestly, it's so disappointing, but I'm with you, Corey. This is, like you said, evident that you've put in the time and the results are showing. And so with the upcoming races, I think, I'm not going to speak on Dench's behalf, but I have a feeling he's obviously going to have to lift his game somewhat, because you've obviously answered the call.
Yeah, but he's just so much better at it than everybody else, and I've been bridesmaid to him so many times, and it's a credit to Matty. Like, he's just so good at that. So the only way is to go away and try your best to improve on that aspect of it. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's about it, really.
All right, gentlemen, before I ask Denchi about race one and anything else, let's just stick with you, Corey. Let's have a look at the second half of the schedule, if we can. Please, Daniel Correa Star, just remind everybody where we're going and how we're doing it. Oh, wow, Oran Park next week. This will be a beauty. Don't be surprised if we get more than 16 on the grid. We want to bloody hope so. On the grid for this one next Thursday night for Spreyton Cider. Actually, just hold that thought, Joe Baldwin. I've just received a memo from you. You're seeing yourself out without being...
Yeah, I've got to run, guys, sorry.
That's all right. Before you go, well done on your performance tonight. Quick comment on next week in Oran Park?
Oran Park, I'll be there. Absolutely, I might even do some more practice for it. Oran Park's, yeah, one of those favourite tracks. I enjoy that place. Aragon, though, I think I'm sick that day.
No, I think we might have you in the commentary box that night.
Yeah, that'll do. I'll get in there and tell everyone all about that track. Great way. Thank you, guys.
Very nicely done. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. Well done. Magnificent. Now, back to Corey. Sorry, all hell's broken loose here on a Thursday night, and I've lost control of the broadcast. Aragon, Zandvoort, we'll get to a little bit later on there. In the eyes of many, some like them, some don't. They're a bit hit and miss, but we love Spa, we love Interlagos, and everyone. I'm yet to find someone that doesn't like the legacy of Oran Park, Corey.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. You're going to want to qualify well at Oran Park. Passing's going to be bloody impossible. But in saying that, you could probably force other cars into some mistakes there. As soon as you're on the grass there, you're gone. So a lot of concentration required for that one, no doubt. Zandvoort, I've never turned a lap there, so behind the 8 ball. Aragon, I thoroughly enjoy. Had a really good battle in AOG last year with Cooper Webster and Joe Stewart. On that one, and we'll see where else after that.
So Aragon, Zandvoort, Spa and Interlagos.
Oh yeah, Interlagos is my favourite on iRacing, hands down. Yeah, it should be good end to the season. Just there's a couple of tracks there which quite like, but Zandvoort I've never done the lap on. Bit of practice still.
All right, mate. Very nicely done. And obviously some really promising signs there for you to take out of tonight and hopefully build on for a big second half of the campaign.
Yeah, thanks very much, and well done again, Matty. We'll see you soon.
And just before we do let you go, we can't help but notice that there's been a couple of missed rounds on your part. Are you good to go for the next 5 weeks? Will we see you on the grid?
Yeah. There's hesitancy in my voice. I might skip Zandvoort just because I've never been there before, and I'll probably put effort into some other leagues elsewhere. But the rest of them, yes. And the other ones that I missed earlier in the season, Sonoma, I'd never done a lap there, so I didn't bother. And Road America, just can't stand that track.
No.
So I didn't bother there either.
Mate, you missed out on some good drama last week then. There's no doubt about that. All right, mate, thank you. Appreciate that. We're going to let you go.
Awesome, lads. Nice to chat. We'll see you again soon.
As always. Hey, take your hat off to him and give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, tonight. That was a really solid performance from Corey Lazarus, but just fell foul of the mark. Those pesky iRacing speed limiters. It's brought you undone in a couple of incidents or instances before, Denchi, so you can sympathise with that, I'm sure.
Yeah, the old speeding right before the exit of the pit lane catches out the best of us. Yeah, sounds like something wrong.
But obviously some really promising signs here for the championship to have Corey really taking the fight to you now, mate. It just goes to show that if he's here for the rest of the season, that you could well have a fight on your hands. I'm not sure how drop rounds and fallbacks are going to land in his favour. We know that he's got a couple of zeros to his name, so he needs to make the most of the next 5 weeks. But for you, I mean, let's assume that the championship's still very much going to remain in your grasp, and you're not going to let go of that stranglehold just yet. But from a race-by-race perspective, or in the race-by-race point of view, just to have some competitive competition out there pushing you along and testing you, that's something I'm sure you'd welcome.
Yeah, most definitely. It'll be really, really interesting to do a full season up against Corey. He's got his fuel saving going really well, and he can hold the pace as well. So yeah, it's going to make for some pretty fun battles, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, what are your thoughts on the second half of the campaign? There's Todd Haynes' dramatic exit. Just again, for the benefit of those that didn't see it the first time round or the second time round. He's getting, Todd Haynes, I'll tell you what, he's getting a fair bit of good advertisement and good airtime tonight. The sponsors will be liking that. There are some weeks where some of our competitors don't get a run at all. Now, as far as you're concerned, Denchi, that second half of the campaign, Aragon, Zandvoort, I mean, yeah, they are what they are, but I mean, we finished strong with Interlagos, and before that, Spa. Oran Park next week. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I think that next week at Oran Park's going to be pretty spicy. Should be a lot of people turn up for that. Yeah, it's going to be pretty tough with these cars, but it should be a pretty spicy race. And then Aragon, Zandvoort, yeah, it's like they're both not the greatest of tracks that I don't really like them, but yeah, the last 2 rounds going to be really good, really strong finish there. Spa and Interlagos should be really good.
They should be indeed, mate. Hello, Haney, you're welcome. Unfortunately, he's not going to live tonight down for a while, but he was on the right end of the sword last week. He was the beneficiary, and this week, unfortunately, he's been met by the sword, it would seem. Now, as far as the formats of those races are concerned, I think it's important to note that when we get to Oran Park, next week. It is sprint racing as well. It's a flat-out 40-minute sprint when we get to Aragon. It's sprint racing, 2 races for the price of 1 when we get to Zandvoort. That's a good track for sprint racing, much like this one, Denchi. Zandvoort, the elbows, you'll have to get them out early because limited overtaking opportunities and a very tight, narrow racetrack.
Yeah, most definitely. The reverse grids are going to be pretty tough there.
Yep, indeed they are. And of course, when we get to the final round, it's a super sprint format before that 60 minutes around Spa, which will suit quite a few people, I'm sure. Denchi, what have we got to do to lift these grid numbers up? The numbers were atrocious tonight.
I think it's probably just a Porsche Cup car. Yeah, you kind of just have like a bit of a bad time in it, and then you want a bit of a break. So yeah, it's just one of those cars.
All right. I therefore move that we change it up and bring back the Formula V into the main. Yeah. Although that being said, their numbers weren't anything to write home about tonight either. In saying that, Denchi, well done. Appreciate that. Congratulations again. The double that nearly wasn't a double. A good fight from Corey Lazarus, but you're the beneficiary of his demise tonight, and onwards and upwards to next week, and we look forward to it.
Yeah, we'll catch everyone next week, should we?
Actually, no, we won't. We're going to hold on to you for a second longer here, because we noticed that you went MIA on Monday night, despite a very impressive performance and a very nice drive. We didn't see you in the post-race show, so you're just going through and ticking the boxes very nicely in GT3 at the moment, my friend. And title number 9 is within reach. I think you've already got a round on the field, haven't you?
Yeah, GT3, there was just that one slip up at Oran Park, but yeah, all the other rounds are really good. We're like a little over 100 points clear at the moment there, so.
All right, indeed you are, and it's looking ominous at the moment. No, well done on that, because that was a very nice drive the other night. Of course, 60 minutes around Road Atlanta, got the job done and did it reasonably well. Sorry, no, Road Atlanta last week, it was Weathertech Laguna Seca. No, Okayama, yeah, sorry, my apologies. I'm getting my venues and the weeks confused, but still, it was a 60-minute race, and one that you controlled very, very nicely. Would be nice to see the Bimmers of the real world reflect live up to the performance of the BMW to the sim world, Denchi. Those Bimmers at the mountain on the weekend just not quite there, and one wrote itself off before it had a chance to really get going. And as far as the sim world's concerned, you guys are looking very good for next Monday night at Mount Panorama, but there'll be a couple of Ferraris, no doubt, that'll have something that they want to say about that, and maybe a Porsche or two as well.
Yeah, I think the only BMW that was going to have a crack at Bathurst kind of binned it. So yeah, that's open for the Porsche to run away with it. So yeah, the Porsche is strong there.
SimWorld 12-hour on this weekend. Are you having a crack?
No, I did the OSR 12-hour week or so ago. So we'll probably yeah, maybe we might jump in and have a little throw around, but yeah, not planning for it.
All right, very nicely done. Maybe a few hours out of the sim rig and just enjoying a quiet, peaceful, relaxing weekend. Who knows? Denchi, well done, thank you. Again, we didn't see you Monday night, and it was only as I was saying goodbye to you the first time around that I thought, hang on a moment, here's a chance to strike and kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Good luck when we get to the mountain on Monday night, 90 minutes worth.
Yeah, thanks. We'll see you.
Which is 1/8 of 12-hour distance, so it'll be interesting to see what the weather effects are like for that one, just quietly. Jonathan Hooper, to you. Okay, not so much anything to write home about race 1, although a very obvious question. What happened? Because you missed the start in race 1, and then all of a sudden you're back in pit lane, and then you're just out there making up the numbers. You finished, you got classified, that's fine, and then you start 14th in race 2 and work your way through the 12th, mate, which was a nice effort, a solid drive.
Yeah, so I was basically, it must have been a penalty or something from a previous race, but yeah, it just said car 232, can you start from the pit? So I was, yeah, sure, whatever. And then when I put on, I thought my pit limiter was off, so I went to put it on. I actually turned it off and floored it, and then got a 40-second stop hold, so had to come around and do that.
And then by the time
so by the time I got back out, I was sort of in the way. So yeah, just sort of did a few laps to just get classified, and then yeah, bit of work, and then the second race just started in 14th, and I was just going along, and then I looked over to my relative, and it was 14th, and then 9th, and then 7th, and then 5th, and then 3rd, I think, and then for some reason, I'm not sure where second came, obviously, with Corey going to the pits, but yeah, it was just basically foot down and full racing, and that was it. There was no fuel save or anything, so yeah, it sort of worked out in the end.
Indeed it did. You got to ride your luck in those situations, and when there are people falling by the wayside, running into drama, be it that they are the incident or that they're an innocent bystander in it. Again, referencing the Todd Hayden incident, and I'm not meaning to harp on that, but that was the key one of the night, and right on cue, it's on the screen again. I'm not meaning to harp on that, because let's face it, there were a few other incidents out there tonight. But you've got to ride your luck in those situations. But strategy, racecraft, and pace also work to your advantage, mate.
Just following from last week, starting to feel a lot more comfortable in the Porsche, so sort of just starting to push it a bit more and more now. And yeah, it's actually, I'm starting to really enjoy it now. It's a car that I really hated at the start when I started first sim racing, and so now it's good to finally, after heaps of practice, start to see some results in it.
And as far as the open split is concerned, mate, fairly competitive there at the moment. I mean, you just held off Chook Fung Wong in the fight for victory there.
Yeah. So it was, we closed a bit of a gap up to him, and I saw a few sneaky lock-ups from him. So I sort of just picked my corner and picked my part of the track, and was able to get it done. So. Yeah, it was good. He's a good. I mean, I know Chook, so he's a very good racer. He's been doing it for a long time. So yeah, just worked out that time.
Indeed, and confirmation from our producer that we are not doing this on purpose to Todd Hayne. It is just that the post-race show has gone that long that we're now replaying race 2 again. Jonathan, when we look at I don't think I really got a chance to have a look at the open split point standings before we came into the round, and Adam Lavis is currently working on them post-round, but I mean, you're within striking distance. Only the last couple of weeks have we seen you on the grid. A DNF in week 1, DNR in week 2. Finally starting to string some results together in the hope of playing with the likes of Adam Lavis at the top end of town in the points race here when we get to round 10, mate. Your thoughts on the second half of the season, the run home?
Yeah, so it'll be in it to do the best I can. So we'll be able to race every Thursday night now. So yeah, it should be good. Should be showing up for every race. So.
Excellent. Very nicely done, mate. Thank you for that. And good luck for what's left of the campaign. Hopefully a few more drivers to play with between now and the end of the season as well, because the field was rather slim on numbers tonight.
Yeah, it was. And it's hopefully it'll all sort of come together for the second part of the season. I look forward to it. I really do. So it's a fantastic night.
Indeed it is. Brands Hatch, there are winners and losers right up and down that finishing order from it. Unfortunately, Sebastian Spicer, one of the winners, actually caught up in that incident that we were referencing earlier, but still managed to fight his way through and finish 4th. Quite extraordinary stuff. Thanks, Jonathan. Go well, mate. We'll catch up with you next week.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
And from him to, if he's got a chance to have a chat to us here, Adam Lavis, some sort of an interesting night for you. Formula V's going okay at the moment, albeit that incident with Sam Chapman aside. But as far as the Porsches are concerned, what are we? Down 4 on where you started in race 2, so that was 3rd position, which meant 8th for race 1. So 8th and 7th, relatively consistent, but not where you want to be as far as the open split results are concerned, mate.
No, probably a little bit off the pace tonight, and got a bit squeezed and a bit of an incident with Stride in the turn 1 during the second race, which put us back a bit. But yeah, other than that, just trying to get those points. But yeah, the incident in the V's though, like that one, like there was actually a little net code before the actual tap that spun Sam, and that actually ripped the wheel out of my hands.
Oh no.
So I actually I had to send the video to Jamie, because like on my screen you see like as soon as net code happens, my wheel goes full left hand down and I'm fully locked up trying to get the wheel back straight. So it was a bit of a scary moment.
I don't doubt that. Now, as far as the Porsches are concerned, well, I mean, the second race in the V's was very good to watch as well. Good to see you and Chapo going toe-to-toe again. Good to see you and John Merritt as well at one point there. But onwards and upwards as far as V's are concerned. Next week, Virginia, your thoughts on that? And then your thoughts on bouncing back from a somewhat disappointing result in the Porsche tonight and stringing the results together in the second half of the campaign here, mate.
Virginia's not one of my favourite tracks, but in the V it's not too.
We'll go there anyway. Yep.
But yeah, that's weird because I don't find Virginia that good. Everyone else seems to like Virginia, but I'm more like Aragon in a couple of weeks. It's an amazing track. I don't know what everyone else talking about. It's great. It's a very fun track. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. We're gonna try and. It's one of those things with those Porsche. Like it's hard for me to get the outright pace because if you're trying to find that limit without going over, because as soon as you go over the Porsche, you're done. There's no real coming back from that. And so it's just trying to find that edge. Here at Brandy's, with all the undulations, there's a limit, and then there's a limit when you hit a crest, and that varies. So you just got to keep yourself mindful and keep the car under you at all times. And sometimes a safe race is better than an in-the-fence race.
Absolutely. All right, mate, I'll let you get back to calculating championship points for Formula V and Porsche for us. Don't let me hold you up. We'll catch up to you on Monday night when we rock and roll around the mountain.
Have a good night.
And on that subject, folks, when we have a look at the Porsches, yeah, Denchi's in complete control at the moment, and it's almost running along a very similar line to what we saw in GT3, where he's going to have close enough to a round up his sleeve here after 5 rounds. So the writing's on the wall as far as title number 9 is concerned, as long as he just finishes off the campaign as strongly as he has started it. Now, on that subject, let's do what we do at the business end of the broadcast here at the tail end of proceedings, and remember to dot the I's and cross the T's and acknowledge the people that make it possible for us to do what we do here each Monday and Thursday night. And there's discussion in the background about maybe adding a couple of Tuesdays and Wednesdays to the mix as well. Waste Options, Spreyton Cider. Of course, they're the naming rights main sponsor, head honchos of Thursday Night Motorsport. Player One Sim Gear, Leipzig Racing, M-Wave Australia, and Flash Graphics. How good to have a new updated Flash Graphics logo as well. It's looking good. John Simpson and the team there, very nice. It's almost as though we've forgotten what the old one looks like. Those of us that have been around long enough do remember, but that is very slick. There's the schedule for the Porsches, but what we want to do actually is go and have a look at the full schedule. There it is for you, and that's what's coming away on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Forget about the top line in the sense that we're not on air for any of that, but Friday night the Super Formula cars around Spa-Francorchamps circuit, 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time. There'll be 3 races there with full reverse grid for race 2 and a top 10 reverse grid for race 3, just to throw the cat amongst the pigeons. Friday night's motorsport open wheeler style. It is tradition here, as long as the summer period feels like in Queensland. Let me tell you that much, ladies and gentlemen. It is great to have the open wheels there in that top slot on a Friday night. I dare say IndyCar will make a return in due course now that IndyCar and iRacing are back in bed together. But yeah, 8:30 p.m. 3-race format, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes, in and out in an hour. Good stuff. Saturday night, Mountain Men in the Formula Fords continuing the open wheel flavour. Mount Panorama Bathurst, 32 laps. 8:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. I've got a couple of clips to give out as we depart tonight, Daniel Caruso, on the subject of Bathurst, but let me come back to that in a moment. Sunday, on the subject of supercars, past and present Oval Series, the 2014 supercars. At a TBA venue and a TBA number, or to be confirmed and to be advised, both circuit and lap number count details. 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time for that. That's Pete Matson's baby, of course. Monday night, we get stuck into the start of the second half of the season, and there will be Super 3 and GT3 AM on this occasion. I've been advised by Adam Lavis. Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course first up. Race start 7:50 Eastern Daylight Time for Super 3. Thanks to the great people at Play One Sim Gear. Then on to Mount Panorama Bathurst, where we're going to bring you the AM split race. Now that brings with it a certain level of intrigue that I'm looking forward to exploring. I think it's the first time we've done a long-distance 90-minute race in a while for the AM split, so we're excited about that. We've done sprint races, we've done 60-minute races, but a 90-minute race for the AM split. You beauty. Monday night, Mount Panorama. That one getting underway 8:45 Eastern Daylight Time, and of course, we advise you that with the slightly longer race there, the broadcast will end slightly later than usual. It's Tuesday night, up-and-comers. You're in the Formula 4s. And the venue is to be confirmed, but we get underway 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time, 10, 15 and 25-minute length races. The second one, of course, a reverse grid. Brands Hatch then for right back here, where we end tonight, for GT1's Civil War. And those cars around here, that'll be interesting. Viewing, no doubt about that. 9:15 Eastern Daylight Time for them. Wednesday night, the Toyota 86s and the GT4 Challenge. The ladder from Okayama for 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 2 races, a top 10 invert for the second, and a top 10 invert for the second race of the Toyotas, as well as they head to Silverstone at 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time. Spreyton side of Thursday Night Motorsport back in your living rooms, back on your screens. This time next week, 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time, Virginia International Raceway for Formula V. Top 10 invert for the second race, which always shakes things up nicely, stirs the pot, rattles the cage, throws the cat amongst the pigeons. I could go on. And of course, then the Porsche Cup sprint racing. So again, back-to-back Thursday nights where sprint racing is firmly the order of the day and on the agenda. 5 races for the price of 2. You bloody beauty. No better value for money anywhere in town as far as this club is concerned. Thursday Night Motorsport, the last before we get rudely interrupted by the footy codes for the foreseeable future. And the last, and the first and only one that we'll have on February 29 on Thursday night for a while as well, because that'll be, well, A, the first time we've had a February 29 broadcast in history of the club, and B, the only time February 29 will fall on a Thursday until the next occurrence of it will be 2052. So it'll be, if we're still broadcasting on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club in 2052, chances are we'll get another Thursday Night Motorsport on February 29 edition for you. Next one will be, what's the next one? 2028. That'll be a Tuesday. And then it'll be a Sunday, so we probably won't even be on air at all. Friday, Wednesday, Monday, Saturday, Thursday. So yeah, there are a couple of dates in there in the next short while where February 29 will fall on a broadcast night. Just whether this club is still going and we're still broadcasting remains to be seen. Merchandise, race.GSRC.inc for all your GSRC club information and joining up, signing on as a member, racing championship details, all through that website there. Not too late to, start preparing for the big events in your family calendar this year. Anniversaries, birthdays, Christmas, Easter, all that sort of stuff. Merch.GSRC.inc. Good stocking stuff are available there with bottle openers, stubby holders, t-shirts, hoodies, you name it. The club's got it there available for your purchase. The GSRC GT3 In fact, just general endurance championship starts on the 10th of March as well. Sunday, March 10, Eastern Daylight Time. Watkins Glen, the venue, the full boot circuit, a 4-hour race. Looks like Daniel Correa, Sarah and I are teaming up for that one with Liam Banks not available. Sunday, the 10th of March. Looking forward to that immensely. Geez, Dane Snadden was in the wars a bit tonight in that second race. He only finished down in 9th and had a couple of incidents along the way. It wasn't the smoothest run for him, and he had a 46-second stop on lap 14 just for the sake of it as well, just to add insult to injury. So yeah, we're almost done on a Thursday night. Some final thoughts from you, Daniel Correa, before I put a full stop on it?
Nah, nothing from me. Look, we saw a couple of awesome races there on for the Formula Vs, and then yeah, just crazy crash there from Todd Hayne in that second race, and then yeah, just such an unfortunate thing to happen to Corey Lazarus at the end. He put in so much effort and was well rewarded through that, but then yeah, just clipping the pit lane speed exit penalty, which caused him. Yeah, that sucks. But all in all, another great Thursday of racing, and yeah, look, I'm keen for the next one.
The amount of times that the Todd Haynes name has been mentioned, or that replay has been shown, his car's got to run, the jump start's been mentioned. He'll be making royalties off this broadcast before too long. Very nicely done. A couple of things from me before we go. Firstly, actually, there's a list of things, but I don't want to get on my soapbox too hard too early this season. But I love Chad Nolan as a broadcaster and as a commentator, and I have him as a friend on Facebook, and I see him on Twitter the other day, but I can't not call this out, right? As good as a job as he did at the 12 hour, he pipes up with the smart you-know-what comment on Monday, or Tuesday actually, our time. Daytona 497.5, right? because now there's a reason why I'm mentioning this. Okay. Because obviously, okay, so two things. Yes, the race was neutralised at the start of the final lap after a crash, and the caution was thrown millimetres after the guys got across the line, and as we know, after the white flag, that ends it once there's the next flag shown, whether it's a yellow or a checker, it ends the race, right?
That's right.
Or a red, right? Okay. So we know the NASCAR rules by now, and I was praying for a green-white checker. Like anyone, I love overtime in NASCAR, especially at Daytona. So I was hoping they'd wreck about 50 metres before the finish line, and the yellows would have enough time to get out and thrown, but they didn't. They were sliding across the finish line, and the yellows were were thrown after that. White flag flies, next flag ends the race. That's the throwaway commentary line, but it's right, it's accurate. So Chadley makes that remark, Daytona 497.5, from the same mob of people, knowing that he's part of the Supercars broadcast team, that are advertising the Thrifty Bathurst 500 this weekend will actually be 497.04 kilometres, right? Because 2x40 lap races, 40 by 6.213, actually, sorry, 2x40 lap races, 40 times 2 is 80, 80 by 6.213 kilometres, being the circuit length, is 497.04 kilometres. So I couldn't help but highlight the irony and the stupidity of that. At least in NASCAR's defence, right? Yes, the race was neutralised, but the drivers still had to come around and see the checkered flag to be, classified where they were. So that's point number one. Point number two, have you ever seen anything as embarrassingly stupid as the social media content that was doing the rounds yesterday into today with the Wiggles getting into bed with supercars, right? I mean, it's fair income. There are words that I could say at this time because we're past that 7:30 threshold in the West, but I won't. I mean, it seemed like a very good match when it was announced. I couldn't believe that the Wiggles, of all things, were announced as the headline entertainment for a Supercars event in Bathurst. But it feels like a perfect mix because neither are what they used to be, especially the Wiggles. And point number three, and this is more of a personal one. I've advised the boys here tonight that there was a bit of question mark over my involvement in Grand Final Week for Term 1 here. There was an outside chance that I'd miss Grand Final Week for the first time in my involvement in the club, which dates back to Term 1. of season one, right? So year one, 2020, COVID, lockdown, etc. Right, so this is now my 16th season with this club, but I'll be here to anchor Grand Final week, and the reason for that is that, as I've highlighted over on Facebook, for those of you that are friends there, I won't be going to Mount Panorama Bathurst. I won't have any involvement in the media or the promotion or anything thereof for the Circuit XL National Series this year. They made me an offer. They acknowledged my expression of interest, but there was, with no play-by-play commentary attached to it, it was always going to be a tough sell for them, and I don't envy them on that because, with other commentary commitments and other paid work a long way from Bathurst, commentary would have got me across the line, but very little else would have. However, so as a result of that, yeah, I'm not going to have... there's an incident that we didn't actually see. Sam Stride and Adam Lavis. Adam did, of course, mention that a few moments ago, I'm fairly certain. But, yeah, frustrating sort of night for him, but at least he got back on the track and salvaged 7th in the end behind Sam Stride. So yeah, as much as I love the category and love the people, just the offer on the table and the remuneration attached to it as well, it just made it a very tough thing to sign up for. So I decided against it, and more so because I wasn't keen on the idea of going to a racetrack as a paid spectator. So, especially when you've worked on the category in the commentary box for their nationals the last 2 years, all of a sudden television gets hold of it. So as a result of that, I'll be here for Grand Final week, and I'll miss a couple of nights in and around a couple of karting commitments that I'm attending in New South Wales, but Grand Final week is locked in, and there's already discussions underway as whether it's going to be 3 nights or 4, but we're looking forward to it all the same, and we hope that you'll come along for the ride with us when we get to Grand Final week in the lead up to the Easter long weekend, at which point we have 2 weeks off, which if the first 5 weeks of this season is anything to go by, we're going to bloody well need. And we'll come back refreshed and rejuvenated and hyped up and pumped up and excited for a season like no other, because we're going to reinvent the wheel in sim racing circles, because the rain will be here by that point. So too, a couple of new cars, a couple of new circuits. There's a great air of anticipation and excitement and intrigue around season 2, or term 2 for us. Already, we are only halfway through the opening term. Yes. We're at the halfway mark. 5 weeks down, 5 to go. The run to the checkered flag begins on Monday night, and we're very much looking forward to that. Hope you enjoyed Spreyton Side of Thursday Night Motorsport on the platforms of the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. On behalf of Daniel Correa, the rest of the broadcast commentary and production team here, I'm Doug Caven. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks so much for coming along for the ride. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. Congratulations to Matt Danch. Commendable effort from Corey Lazarus, and well done to John Merritt on his win in Formula V as well, just ahead of Sam Chapman. Good luck to those running in real-world motorsport events this weekend. The opening round of the Australian Karting Championship, the Australian Superbike Championship, the World Superbike Championship. There's Formula 1 testing, there's NASCAR, there's Supercars, there's a few other things going on around the traps. There's a lot to be excited about. And of course, we're looking forward to next week when Formula 1 racing gets underway, the week after when MotoGP gets underway, and IndyCar as well. But for the moment, I'm looking forward to all that real world stuff over the weekend before we reconvene on Monday night. And a special shout out actually to anyone in the Ipswich area or the southeast Queensland area this weekend. Local football competitions get underway, the World Game that is, and the NRL pre-season trial comes to Ipswich as well. I'll be there on Sunday. The Gold Coast Titans up against the Parramatta Eels. Kick-off is 4 local, 5 Eastern. You'll see it on Fox Sports. And I'm in the ground announcers booth for that one, so I'm looking forward to that. And some junior rugby league around the region on Saturday, and there's plenty of other local sport right around the country as well, and of course Australia against New Zealand in the T20s to keep an eye on from over the ditch as well. So a lot to be excited about. The final week of summer, final weekend I should say, of summer is upon us. We look forward to your company Monday night for the start of week 6 of term 1 and the first of 2 90-minute enduros in the back half of the GT3 Championship campaign, with thanks to Waste Options. Until then, have a great weekend, everybody. On behalf of the crew here, I'm Zach Caden, bidding you a very good night.
Bye.